Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back at it again, talking about Tower of God. This time we're talking about season three. We've already talked about season one, season two for like the anime, and then we spoke about the rest of season two for the webtoons. And then we took a long time, mainly because of me, to eventually talk about Tower of God season three, and eventually we'll talk about the side novel or the side story with Eric because apparently a lot of crazy things happening there as well. Tower of God, one of the best stories out there, so it's always fun to discuss. Lonnie, how you feeling about Tower of God?
Uh, it's. I feel really great about it. I think it's gonna end up being one of them all-time greats. The fact that he's combining like his spin-offs into incorporating into like the overall Tower God universe, and what he's doing right now with the first spin-off that he's making. The world's just getting bigger and bigger. It's literally the One Piece of manhwa. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I finally am glad I got there because it all my reading of Tower of God was a reread because I actually already read a lot of it up until season three, and then I had to catch up to remember a bunch of stuff and then see the rest of the stuff I haven't seen, and the rest of the stuff I haven't seen is crazy. Riddell and Lonnie doing the forehead challenge. What is that supposed to mean? What's the forehead challenge?
I'm gonna be all self-conscious and shit.
I'm pretty sure Miles, your forehead is bigger than my forehead. So how
I didn't
about
know
that?
this was live. I thought this was gonna be a recording.
Oh yeah, I just was like, might as well go live. And then I'll definitely edit it and like make these into segments like I did last time. So I was
I
like,
got you.
whatever. Um, but yeah, Tower of God is really good. I really before we kind of get into it, how are you feeling about a return for the anime?
Oh,
Riddell got his shit oiled. Lana, you good?
uh,
I have lotion. This is moisturizer, buddy. Plus, I have natural oily skin, so this is what it is. What were you saying?
well, we know it's coming, but it's just a matter of are they gonna improve it, improve the animation? Because I feel like with the upcoming arcs, like the train arc, I'm gonna need some better shading, some better choreography. I'm gonna need a lot because when my boy White shows up, they need to lock in.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tower of God season two is overhated. I see. There's only like couple scenes I'm like, this is the poorly animated, but I think overall season two is good, especially once we start getting into the workshop. Some of the fights they had was actually pretty good animated, but they weren't really good fights necessarily because the choreography wasn't really expanded upon. So it is what it is. And it didn't have like its own identity. Like Tower of God season one animation's unique to Tower of God, and I appreciate it. And also, you compare the season one art to the season one animation. The season one animation clears. Season when after the prologue, they upgraded in terms of art, but Tower of God still took a while before they started cooking with their art. When you read the modwa, I do hope they get the budget boost because Tower of God is too good not to get at least like the same type of love and care solo leveling and omniscient reader is about to get.
Hmm. Yeah, no, out of those big three of the manhwa, like I'm pretty sure the animation's probably gonna be the worst for some reason, even though it's like One Piece. It's because I think like the Naruto and Bleach animation was better than One Piece's in the very beginning,
For a
but
while. Yeah.
One Piece was the better story, and I think it's gonna be like the same case here. But
Yeah. Focusing on the narrative, don't skip. Be very intentional with your narrative dumps, lore dumps for sure. I mean, people are appreciating the exposition. You know, JJK became a meme because of the narrator talking about everything that they're doing. You can do the same thing with Shin. Shinshu's not an easy power system to understand and all the different roles.
no, and with Tower God now they're adding more power systems, so it's gonna get super complicated probably by the time we're like in season six. We're gonna need like a booklet.
For sure. I've been having fun doing my little like clip things with like people on TikTok talking about different Tower of God characters, and a lot of them are interesting. Like Rachel, respect her. We respect Rachel on this platform. Shout out Rachel, but she didn't really have like the craziest showing in season 3 by any means, especially compared to season 2.
Not
She did
compared to
some
season two,
things.
but she did do a lot, and I feel like a lot of it was like a setup for whatever season 4 is. Because I think season 4 is like when we're really gonna see Bam in a corner, and I feel like she can
Mhm.
make things a lot worse. Like she can make things a lot worse. So
She could,
we saw her
or a
get some
lot better.
yeah, like season 3 is like we kind of see like where her power ups are gonna start coming from. We kind of see like the power that she is establishing and the connections that she's establishing for whatever her goals are. But like she couldn't really show it off in this season because of who we were running into. Because we were running into some of the top dogs this season. So
Yeah, there's levels, and there's even levels above the levels.
there are
So
literally levels.
we'll get into it. All right, we're to start off talk about Tower of God season 3. We'll be going arc by arc. This will be a long time. I will break these up into segments so people can easily digest and really understand Tower of God as we talk about it. I'll be kind of running through like the narrative pieces. Lonnie will bring up panels if appropriate. But Tower of God, let's have some fun. So the first thing first, when it comes down to Tower of God in season 3, one of the first things that they have to do is like the Yama stuff. Like a lot of it in regards to Yama and Dang Dang and Bam needing the help of Yama in particular for their goals because they had to rescue their master. That's like the big thing that's gonna the start of the crux of Tower of God season 3 is Bam working with Karaka to rescue their master. I'm trying to remember. Jinsung is the name of their master. Um, did we get the fight between Caliban and Jinsung in season 2, or was that only in season 3? Okay, might as well recap that. Caliban, Jinsung stopped Caliban from going and chasing Bam as Bam and his crew tried to escape. And in that fight, Caliban beat Jinsung low key with the help of what's her name again? It's not Maria, is it? No. What's the other?
Was she a princess or
I'm pretty sure she's in charge of like one of the important jihad forces. I forget her name. She was also the younger version. Also, was the one that was in the one arc where they went back in time. I just forget her name, but she helped Caliban get a W on Ginseng, and then Ginseng was captured. So now that they're trying to save him, but they need the help of another Fug Slayer, and Karaka and Bam are trying to get the help of Yama. And then we start the first arc in regards to like the dogs arc. I don't know what you want to call it. Initial thoughts with starting out and going to recruit Yama.
well, initially like we kind of see like almost an immediate change in Bam because Bam was always like reserved, passive, and I think like what chapter 1 or 2 he's pulling up saying I've because his new training was he just had to start going into battles, wars, learning as he goes with his new master. And so he went from a soft kid to knowing how to not show any mercy and knowing when to be ruthless because I think yeah, he just without hesitation slaughtered a whole group of dogmen without even blinking and not feeling bad about it. And then we also saw seeing that he's a lot more bold because when he met because he's supposed to ask Yama to like help him out, help him. Like he needs a favor. And he doesn't know like hasn't met Yama. Everyone says like, yo, proceed with caution. Yama's a crash out. And he kind of tells Yama what to do. And Yama's like, who is this dude? And then like he's making demands. It's like, yo, I'll crush your head. And Bam stays 10 toes down, like not afraid, just like, hey, you might be a Slayer. I'm a Slayer candidate. I'm not scared of you. And yeah, I think that's probably like the first time anyone's really like talked to Yama like that in a while. So yeah, he's completely grown a lot since season 2. he's grown up a lot.
Yeah, and I will say this about Yama as well. Well, first things first, Bam's growth into season 3 was very interesting to see, especially kind of like revisiting it because it's subtle, but people don't need to recognize, even though Bam's personality and he's like super kind, this man changes a lot throughout the story. There is drastic changes on where his moral character is like has to go, and he's like waving back and forth because he's trying to figure out what's the right thing to do because he has no idea. One thing I did say about Bam is that this guy, even though it wasn't one of my favorite characters, after revisiting it, Bam is actually one of the best protagonists out there, and people just don't really recognize how good of a character he is. And now, once we get to it, he's in one of the craziest situations moving forward right now. It just keeps going, getting stranger and stranger for Bam, to put it nicely. As for like this arc in regards to the cage, I think that's the cage arc where they're at. Yama, they give him like Kenpachi, I would say. It's like a Kenpachi type. But the levels, like obviously Karaka is above Bam for the most part. Bam is closing the gap, but Karaka's above Bam. Yama's way above Karaka. Like there is levels, and Bam is becoming more and more bold. And also, it's important to mention the person who trained him was Evankel, which is the owner of the elemental, one of like the elemental ancients. And you know what's interesting? I didn't notice this the first time, but they changed Evankel's gender like midway through the story. Initially, they called Evankel a him, and now it's just a her moving forward. So I think
really confirmed whether they. I think you might be right. They might have just like switched genders, but like I always kind of thought that they were a girl.
Same,
but
yeah, it's no big deal. But I found that very interesting. But yeah, Bam was trained by her. She gave him extensive training. Evankel is one of the top like 250 high rankers, so one of the strongest people in the Tower of God universe. So the training was very potent.
250 sounds like a lot, but with what there's like 300 something, there's like 380 levels in the tower, and some of them belong to like families, so they run in groups and stuff like that, or like they have specific roles. Some of them, which we'll talk about later, are sealed in walls. So yeah, so it's a lot of. So it sounds like a lot, like, oh, you're just top 250, but like these people, like in the high rankers, they're considered basically gods for the rest of the tower. If you're a high ranker, you're basically considered a god, and if you travel or whatever, basically the whole the size of a floor is basically the size of like a continent. So if a high ranker travels to a floor, basically the whole continent is like alerted, like, hey, there's this badass over here, stay out their way. So I think they're a little bit higher, especially like since she has one of the ancient celestials, which we'll probably get into too. She's probably one of like the most dangerous in the verse.
Oh, it definitely is very dangerous. And then one other thing that's important to note is one of the cruxes of this arc in particular is Bam trying to help Louis and Dang Dang, which have very interesting stories, but in totality, not that important characters. But Dang Dang is super important, especially in lieu of like what happens a little bit later on in the arc. And Louis is like the son of very important people in this story too. And Bam, his thing is he's trying to save Dang Dang and Louis in this situation because Dang Dang is being kind of used for some like thing that's going on, and he wants to give Dang Dang and Louis their freedom to be who they are, and that's why he's stepping up to Yama in this particular situation. Lots goes on in this arc, in this story. There's a lot of moving actors in this story in particular. With one of the Fug Elders eventually shows up. They have an ulterior motive going on, and a lot of it was. And then, of course, Yama's brother, the other one, the youngest brother, also shows up. He has his own ulterior motives. Then there's another organization. We're gonna have to save like who they really are, but they get involved as well, and they have their own ulterior. So a lot of people doing a bunch of stuff, and it ends up a situation where they're trying to revive Yama's oldest brother, Doom. And then the Elder trying to free Doom and having their own plot line. And of course, we got Yama teaming up with Bam to kind of take this on. How'd you feel about like all these moving parts trying to come out and then trying to release Doom and how crazy it got at that point?
Tower God has a good way of having a lot of moving pieces flow together. So I mean, it is a lot. I feel like sometimes it does. It takes like some brain power to keep up. 1 second.
Shout out Siri.
But no, I think fleshing out like the dog people and like Yama, and especially like Yama's family and background, I thought was like really interesting because I think they're kind of alluding that Yama's more than what he thinks he is, and I feel like he's gonna be one of those like people like and Bam's like final, like when it comes to like the final group that helps Bam, I think Yama's gonna be one of those like key factors, like key people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like even though he's a ranker right now, I don't think he's reached his potential at all.
Yeah, he's definitely at the level of a ranker as they establish, especially a little bit later on when they start their war. But I agree. Also, a big thing that they got from this, from like the Yama, because Yama actually has a really interesting like lore attached to him, as do his brothers, and we'll touch upon their backstory a little bit later too. But one big thing that Bam learns from these people in particular is transformation, which is like a huge ability that Bam uses to like master the like creatures inside of him. Best way to put it. Which is like very important because he has to take on some crazy people. So these things become very influential. So overall, they're trying to free Doom. Come to find out that the heart inside Dang Dang is Doom's heart. And we have a situation where they need to take out the heart of Dang Dang to put in Doom. And we also find out that Dang Dang's identity is basically just a container for the heart. He actually has no real identity. And then Louis' entire identity was a lie the entire time as well. He's actually the son of the guy who betrayed Yama to free Doom to like change the course of like the canines moving forward, because Doom can control them, which is a big proponent of the story, with like this like master control. Just tell them what to do and they'll listen. And the Elder wants to use Doom for his own purposes, to use him in a war that they eventually get into, which is another huge. The way we transition from this to that is actually insane. But yeah, Doom gets freed. Dang Dang dies. Yes, just dies. We got a traitor, and then Yama has to confront Doom, and then we got this interesting thing where Doom is taken advantage of by the Elder Fug Slayer. So once Doom was released, it kind of like everything kind of just broke loose in that period. How'd you feel about Doom, his release, and all the betrayals that just started happening back and forth?
Doom himself was pretty interesting, especially since he had like the control over the other dog, the canine people, and it kind of shows the flaws or the more negatives in Feud, because like we originally think like, oh, the Jihad family and like the head families are like the main enemy because like they're after, because they probably have ill intentions for Bam, and then he gets recruited by Feud to slay them because like Jihad's the one that's basically holding the whole tower hostage, but they're just as grimy as Jihad and the rest of them. They have their own ulterior motives. They have motives against each other. So like they don't work cohesively. Like they all have their own hidden agendas, and they don't mind killing each other for their own. So it's like, what's the overall goal of you? Is it just killing that? Is it killing the head families? Is it something else? Because they don't work together for their goals. Like it's like they're just, I don't know. It's a clusterfuck, but that's the only way I can say it. It's just a mess.
It is a mess. That's why I find Karaka's character throughout this season very interesting, because initially they made it seem like he was just pure evil. You very clearly start seeing that this guy is not probably evil at all. He has his own reasons, even though like he has like demons. They are all loyal to him because he's him. So Karaka was a very interesting part because he's only helping Bam and he's willing to trust Bam. Karaka and Bam's relationship develop a lot purely because both of them need to help each other to one, defeat Caliban, big proponent in this story, but also save their sensei. So he was even willing to go up against a Thug Elder who were like one of the people in charge. There's a huge battle. Yama's pissed because he's like, why are you lying to me? Why are you trying to use my people? Karaka, Bam also joined their side. Now they're trying to take over Doom. The Thug Elder is like, we need you. We'll talk about what they need him for in a second. Evon Kell eventually joins their side. And one interesting thing that is a constant proponent that Bam is able to do, Bam works beyond the rules of the tower. So he's able to do some like crazy stuff that basically nobody else is able to do, such as disable spells. That's like one of his arguably most broken ability, because he disabled the spell on not only against the guy that was going after him, but on Doom, when Doom was being controlled to do their bidding, he broke the spell, which eventually helped Doom join their side. And then after all this, the Thug Elder was like, we are just losing. We about to lose, but I got to do what I got to do. He transported the K9s, all of them, to a random fucking wall. And we have a whole new arc where there's a whole battle with the Jihad forces trying to take over these walls, where ancient heroes are being sealed up, trying to release them, trying to take over. And the reason why the Elder did all this is to have the K9 people help the wall people against Jihad's forces. How did you feel about this reveal and everything that kind of led up to it?
I mean, it was a really long, calculated plan. It's kind of messed up, but especially since like the K9s are kind of just like fodder. And
Yes.
like there could have been more humane ways to like have them help without doing all this and like subjugating them and going to all these lengths. But I don't know, if you're grown by some evil people, man, it's like by any means necessary.
It really is. It is kind of crazy. He also sent Yama there, is like, and his plan is like, I failed, so I'm just gonna put you in the middle of them and just you're gonna fight them regardless. Which is technically, Yama saw Jihad forces and wanted smoke immediately, so it kind of worked. But it just shows you that the elders are extremely flawed, and their thoughts and their plans suck. So they're kind of YOLOing a lot of the time, if we're being completely honest.
And also, isn't it so? It's so weird that it's like Bam is a god, is like a Slayer candidate, but they have so many like issues with him, and they have so many like reasons to like try to kill him. But it's like y'all recruited him, like y'all went to go seek him, and now you're trying to find every excuse just to murk him. It's like,
They just they were created to fight against the family leaders, but we quickly soon find out throughout season 3 that it's not that simple. The family leaders are not just like the bad guys, because what you're doing oftentimes is also bad as fuck too. So who are the bad guys? Who are the good guys? I don't know, but we'll kind of talk about that. But now we basically seamlessly transition from the cage arc to the wall arc, where ancient heroes are locked up in a wall. These ancient heroes fought Jihad's forces like a long time ago. Another thing that's very crazy about Tower of God, all these people are old as hell. Like, age does not matter in Tower of God at all. These people are like hundreds of years old. It's actually kind of crazy.
Some are thousands. I still don't know how old Yurik is.
Shit, I don't know either.
Because he battles from hundreds and hundreds of years ago before he was in the tower. So it's like, how long has he been in? I don't even know how long he's been in the tower. So yeah, it's ages is weird in Tower of God. Everyone's hundreds or thousands of years old, except Bam apparently. But who knows? Maybe Bam's old as fuck too, and we just don't know.
Who knows? I mean, maybe we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what happens later at the end. So we're at the wall arc. The heroes fought Jihad's forces. They're trying to get released the heroes to help them recruit them. And one important person is being used in this, and that is Caliban. Caliban is now officially back in the story, and he's his attempting to free the heroes and have them recruit on the side. One important thing to note about Caliban and his character arc is that he got in trouble because he allowed Bam to escape. So what happened is he's not allowed to use one of his arms, and he got demoted to like he lost his position as like commander of the whatever division he was in charge of, and now he's basically like a normal soldier, just doing whatever Jihad tells him to do. In this situation, he's going to the wall to get these heroes, and the Jihad forces are trying to use the heroes for their own purposes. And the wall people don't want these heroes to be released. I find the most crazy part about this is like I don't know what you would call it, like the ignorance of peace or like not appreciating what you got. It was probably one of the most frustrating part, but it's very real. How people just get complacent. The only reason why you have peace is because of this hero. You lock her up, and now you treat her like you own her. Like she has to do what you say for you guys. You have to die for us. That was probably one of the craziest parts about this arc, which highlights
Like the
a
entire.
lot of people suck in this tower. Go ahead.
I said no. It's like they the heroes like gave up so much, and like they were fighting Jihad, because I think like these specific heroes, or most of them, like it was when Jihad decided to stop, like to basically hold the tower hostage and like cut off the tower, and that's when they were rioting, because that's like the purpose of the tower is to climb it. And so they fought for their people, X, Y, and Z, and the fact that everyone just kind of like they're kind of like they just use them as props, and it's just I don't know, it's messed up.
It is messed up, and the finally have our hero, female hero character, which a lot to talk about in regards to her story arc. Dowan is her name, and her sister, and the memory stuff regarding her, and that was interesting. And then, of course, the other hero, which is him and her, they have a relationship. And apparently, back in the day, the reason why they lost is because one, they got betrayed, and two, Jihad kind of like predicted a lot of this. That kind of goes into why the fuck Elder is a failure, because he could see the future, but Jihad could see the future better than he could see the future, and just manipulated the fuck out of him. Jihad is him for a lot of different reasons. One interesting part about this is they knew of Bam's existence only because someone told them about Bam's existence. And this is going to be a recurring thing. Jihad's character is actually, I'm very confused what to think about this character, because we will find out a big thing that happened later on. But one thing you could tell by reading it without, like, this isn't even a spoil. That guy looks like Jihad. That told him, obviously. So what is going on? Is this Jihad? Question mark. And what this seems like there's different forces in here. How do you feel about find out the heroes? How do you feel about them? How do you feel about their interactions with Bam? And eventually Caliban teams up with Dowan for different reasons. We'll talk about that. But how do you feel about all that stuff?
The heroes were interesting, especially like their perspectives on things, like why they were sealed and why some were. Because I feel like they both were like they wanted to be sealed like right back, and then they both had like their own reasons for just roaming again, and they both. How do I put this? The girl's the most interesting one, of course. The I feel like the guy low key nerfed himself in the story, if that makes sense. He was just after like they separated or whatever, he just was kind of like more in the background. But no, I feel like she tested Bam a lot, and also like her dynamic with her interactions with Caliban also showed a lot of his character, because Caliban's almost he's like justice gone wrong, if that makes sense, in the sense of he just views it like, oh, this is what's supposed to be right, and I'm going to kind of be ignorant to everything else because this is what's right. It's kind of like a cop that like joins the force to do everything by the book, and no matter what he interacts with, he's just going to stick by oh, I have to do everything by the book. And sometimes, especially in this tower, when everyone's grimy and everyone got agendas and you're the only one going by the book, sometimes you're doing more harm than good. So
Yeah, Calvin is loyal to a point. We'll talk about that point. Sorry, I keep on saying we got to go in chrono. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happens with these characters, which is why I keep on saying we'll talk about it. But how do you feel about the Jihad lookalike telling them about them and their future?
see, I didn't know if it was Jihad at first either. I was just like, why does he look like so much like Jihad? But also we know someone else that kind of looks like Jihad. That's cool with Bam. So but Jihad's not supposed to be able to bear any children, and that's the more confusing part because he's not supposed to be able to bear children. That's why he gives his blood to other head family girls and stuff like that, and they become the princesses. So why are these people look like him when, especially when Jihad's supposed to be up on that top floor and they're way, way, way. It should take Jihad a long ass time to get to wherever they are. So how is this all going on? It raised a lot of questions.
I really like how they intertwine Jihad throughout the story. He never becomes irrelevant at any point. He is the pinnacle, but it seems like even him being the pinnacle, there's something even beyond Jihad, which is kind of a crazy concept when it comes down to like Tower of God. Like, what is really the end goal? I'm curious to see how they kind of play that out. But the arc basically ends with Doan going with Caliban. Her goal is she wants to end the war and the conflict because she's just tired of fighting at this point, which understandable. The people you protected ended up sucking. They suck. So was it worth protecting them if they're garbage people? I don't know. Very interesting moral ethical question that every moral ethical question is something that Bam is going to have to answer eventually. That's kind of like the big part of it. So she goes with Caliban because she wants to end the war. The other guy goes with Bam because, Bam is the future of the tower. He's going to change the tower, whether for good or bad, who knows. Dewan did protect Bam and make a deal with Caliban to leave him. So keep that in mind. She doesn't hate Bam by any means. And then the war is ended. The heroes are free. The Jihad forces left. And then Yama and the rest of them joined forces with Bam. And then they created a whole plan. All right, time to save Jin Sung, leading into in contention for the best arc of Tower of God, the Nest arc, which is the big war to save Jin Sung. How do you feel about this arc in general before we get into details?
Is it the best arc? You could probably say it's the best arc. I feel like because with everything that there's so many movies.
It's at least in contention.
It's definitely. I would say definitely top 3. Trying to figure out everything that happens in that arc. What's the beginning of that arc?
The beginning of the arc is when they initially infiltrate the Nest area where Jin Sung is being held. And before everything, this is where Bam beat a ranker 1v1, which was a crazy situation. A regular beats a ranker 1v1. Never has happened. So he beats a ranker 1v1. And keep in mind, he beat this ranker 1v1 without using any of his OP abilities. That's how impressive Bam was. So Bam shows up to make it like, hey, I'm here to bring these people out, to set them up so they can, and then they start their plans of infiltrating it and trying to strategically get inside from the outside. And then we got a bunch of battles start happening. And of course, Caliban's forces were the first ones up, and then what happens to those forces very quickly.
So, I mean, it's revisionist history, but technically one other person has beaten a ranker as a regular, and that was Yurik. But all the recordings were deleted from history. Because
they did say
one of
the princesses. Yeah, one of the princesses beat a ranker too.
I think you meet in the Yurik spinoff as well. But yeah, technically Yurik came in, started whooping everybody from jump, like he's Saitama. But they did that. A lot of things happened in the first arc of the Yurik spinoff, where basically the head families were None of this happened. Y'all leave the test floor. Never talk about this ever again. But yeah, he was he was fighting high rankers and everything. It was wild. We'll get into that later. But now Bam, the thing about Tower of God, like when it comes to like rankers and regulars, when you become a ranker, like you get all your hacks. And that what's really puts you a cut above the rest, where it's like you have so many hacks, you're stronger, you can control more Shishui, all that. Thing with Bam is he doesn't have a limit to how much Shishui. How the fuck do you say the word?
I just say Shisui.
Shishui. There's no limit to how much he can control or access. His like energy level never goes below the bar. It's always the same. He basically has like infinite access to it. So the fact that he can just overwhelm people with that is like why he was able to beat that ranker. But most rankers have hacks that would just, even with all that power, would just kind of make it really almost impossible to beat them. But yeah, no, Bam's one of them ones. But he's already getting those hacks like to cancel out spells, afflict those wounds and stuff like that. He's already swallow abilities. So
Black Hole Shinsu, which is one of the most broken abilities in Tower of God. It's basically the Black Flash of Tower of God. Black Hole Shinsu.
So he basically kind of has ranker powers as a regular, because those are all hacks that a regular should not have.
Facts. So after this, beating him was like a very important part of the strategy to kind of put Bam's name out there and to convince. I think one of the big reasons why they did this is to convince the rest of FUG to kind of join them and to convince other people to join Bam as well. In lieu of like their mission here to take on Jihad's forces and Ness. So another very important part about this is that Calivan's force has been replaced. Like the new commander's name is Popado Leobrick Kun. So we have a new person who has the Kun name and the Popado name. This guy was a part of like the special forces of Jihad's army, so he's extremely loyal to whatever Jihad needs him to do. And he is now running things of the 4th Army Corps. The first thing that basically happens, I kind of already iterated it, but like of course Bam and his allies are showing up, and then Calivan's former commander corps was there. Some of the highlights to point out is like there were some interesting rankers that were very good. One of the interesting ones is the sniper girl, who's a high ranker, who's extremely high ranked, only because her sniper is like OP as hell and she can kill basically any high ranker with it. So we had a crazy moment with her and Evan Kell, and eventually she switched sides because she's only here to protect her family, to be honest, which was pretty dope. And in this situation, there's the plan, which one thing that makes Tower of God great is like most of them are just intelligent as fuck. All of them have strategies. It's consistently a chess game. Consistently. So in this situation, they had a plan to get inside the inner parts of Nest. Leobrook had a plan to counter their plan, and then he had a backup plan, and his backup plan basically used Calivan's forces as fodder to, like, sacrifice them to kill Bam's forces. And I believe that didn't work because Bam saved everybody. Because Bam's broken as fuck. Which ended up with a situation where Calivan, most of his forces are dead, but Calivan, his commander, like Ching Ha, one of the member of the Ha clan, they end up joining forces with Bam because Calivan is pissed that Leobrook basically sacrificed his entire army for a bullshit plan. So then they go into the next part and now want to confront Leobrook. So Calivan and Bam joined forces momentarily, which was a pretty crazy moment considering Calivan started all of it.
Yeah,
I just feel about all this.
It's one of those classic rival team ups where it's like, what would it be? It'd be like, it's almost like, I don't want to go as far as like Ichigo and Aizen, but they do, like, I feel like Bam, before Bam beats Jihad, like probably his second biggest fight is going to be Calivan. And so it'd be like Ichigo versus Okiura. But like if Ichigo and Okiura teamed up, that would be crazy, but also be like, how are they coexisting right now?
Yeah, they had a powerhouse that joined their squad with Caliban. A couple other very important characters I forgot to mention is the squad that is defending or protect like guarding Jinsung is Leo Brooks' 4th Commander Corps, Yasracha, who ends up one of the more interesting characters in season 3. This is the cat dude that I probably should have mentioned a little bit earlier, but he is very much connected into the Yama storyline. He is Yama's main rival. So the cat dude, a little bit to tell you from, I'm trying to make sure I don't reveal too much. So we stay like consistent. Yasracha is a part of Jihad's forces. He is a person who has the ability to also control K9. He did confront Yama at the wall as well, and he basically kidnapped like a whole bunch of K9s and told Yama to stop pursuing him. Doom also knows Yasracha because Yasracha told Doom, Yama, and then the other brother to leave and never come back and go basically run away. So they have history, they have past. Doom and Yama believe Yasracha killed their father. We'll talk about that later. And Yasracha completely dog walked Yama the first time they met. Much stronger than him in every sense of the word. So that one was a big moment here where it's Yasracha, Leo Brook. Is her name Maria? And it's the one Kun person I don't know. Maria's the Kun's sister that he. What's the Kun sister? What's her name? Let me find her name real quick. But there's so many names, it's hard to remember, to be honest. While I look for her name, I also put, so those are important characters that they're gonna have to confront. And one interesting character that shows up for the Team Bam is one of the other Fog Elders. I believe her name is Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Rose, she joined Bam's mission as well. And then they go in, and then eventually a new game is put out where they're all put into this like weird game chessboard thing. They have to catch a mouse to go put on the chessboard and to accomplish their goal and get sent out to their desired place. Bam wants to go to Jinsung. Yama wants to beat up Yasracha. Caliban wants to beat up Leo Brook. And Evonkel has a secret mission. Might as well just say it right now. She learned from the sniper girl that this is all a trap. Yes, there's a trap upon a trap upon a trap. And that this is actually connected to the main fleet of a family leader's base, Traumere. And she needs to go to the teleportation device, do whatever she can to destroy that device, because if Traumere shows up, they're all dead. It's just like GG's, there's nobody there as strong as Traumere. So they all have their own different missions going into that. How you feeling about that while I look up what Kun's sister's name is?
I mean, it was another crazy twist. And the fact, I feel like also like the fear factor of a family head showing up was evident because like we see how strong Caliban is, we see how strong all these high rankers are, and they basically heard, oh, a family head's going, we need to stop this at all costs or we're all screwed. Doesn't matter how strong Caliban is, even if they all join forces, even though they're on the opposite sides, if they all join forces, they have no shot. That's the gap between the family heads and the rest of the people who are. Some of these people are what, the top 100, top 250, top 50, but they ain't the family heads. There's still levels to this.
Is it Mosheni? No, that's not Mosheni, is it? No, that's someone else.
If it's a princess, there's like 4 of them. So
I will find her name because she's too important not to know her name. Definitely not Grum. Mosheni. Is it Mosheni? I think it might just be Mosheni. No, Mosheni is the Yellow May. I don't think she has one. Is it just Maria? Am I tripping? No, no. It's Macheni. I'm pretty sure it's Macheni. I think I'm right. Macheni is her name. Anyhow, okay. So now they're in a new game for Tower of God. And before we get into that, how do you feel about like all the times they do like interesting games to solve issues for Tower of God? How do you feel about that?
The games are always really dope. Like they all have different elements where like even if you're weaker, you still have a fair shot. Like I feel like not everything is power based, especially with all these crazy powers in this verse. I feel like that brings another element into overall Tower God.
Yeah, I really like it. They're always very strategic, and there's always a big twist in terms of like what is going on. I didn't mention before that Caliban and Bam actually fight one more another time, right before Legerbrook portrays everybody. Um, Bam wants to smoke with Caliban in this situation. Also at the same time, I forgot to mention this as well. Kun was powering up White the entire time. That was another thing that was a big. White is also here. I forgot to mention that. He's also helping out Bam's team. Kun knew White is here. He's powering up White by allowing White to eat the dead souls of all the people who were dying at this war. And then he used White to go up against go up against Caliban to defeat Caliban before Caliban meets and confronts Bam. And we had a fight between White and Caliban. And then of course Bam shows up and he wants his fight between them. And then we got, Caliban basically bodies both of them in all intents and purposes, which is, but it was an interesting fight. Before we get into it, how do you feel about Kun utilizing Bam's mortal enemy and eating dead souls, and then Caliban versus White, and then Bam versus Caliban?
It was I love White. I love his development or their development, whatever you want to identify them as. The fight between him and Caliban was dope. I think it showed more of White's character because especially like even though like he's getting all these souls and like we see how powerful White can be, we still see that like there's obviously like there's another gear that he has that he just for some reason can't obtain. Even with all these souls, he still knows that he can be way stronger than this. So it kind of like makes you wonder like how it in some ways I feel like White can be stronger than Bam when it's all said and done. Like he can at least like reach like I feel like they can reach the same level if that makes sense.
If White absorbs strong enough soul, it requires too much on absorbing everybody else.
But it's like if he can learn how to like just retain the power that he has without it just expelling.
Well, we'll get into it because spoiler alert, White and Bam have their 1v1 a little bit later on. And that was a pretty crazy. That's one of those fights that Tower of God's anime needs to lock it. They gotta lock in for the rematch of Bam versus White. All right. So again, this was before Legerbrook's portrayal. Everybody gets to the second wall. Now there's a bunch of games. So how the game works is everybody has to catch a mouse to go to their desired location. That's how the game works in general. There's a couple interesting things. I won't get too much in the minutia. Some side characters get showed up. Some side characters die. Tower God is not afraid of people just dying. It's actually kind of tough, I'm gonna be honest. And I guess we'll go one by one. We also have this Legerbrook's commanders also going out there. There's an interesting thing where like there's a guy that's associated with a workshop who has like these humans that are like experimental or something like that. That's also happening in the background as well. A lot of moving pieces. This is what I appreciate about Tower of God. Tower of God seemed like an actual world where everybody has their own thing. It's not just centered around what Bam is doing. It's just like a lot of people are living their own life and then doing their own thing, and some people fail and some people succeed. The first big thing to talk about, we might as well just go right into it. Bam gets out. Bam has to kind of beat different like people. What are they called? Like half humans? I forget what they're called exactly. That
or something like
yeah,
that.
some type of like hybrid thing. Yasuacha captured them, and Bam has to defeat them to get to his goal to save Junsung. Somebody shows up because they want to confront Bam. We have a girl that shows up that's a part of like the organization Little Bricks part of, but she eventually helps Bam because Bam broke the spell for her ability. Again, Bam's broken ass ability. White shows up because he wants to kill Bam, and then White reveals to Bam. Let's see if people remember this in season 2. White reveals to Bam that he killed Prince and he killed Acaraptor. I think that's his name, something like that. Killed Bam's friends. Bam got pissed and said, "Bro, I want the ones." And then we get Bam versus White. And this was a crazy fight. Bam versus White. How do you feel about leading up to this? The chapter with Bam versus White? Let me see. I don't remember exactly what chapter it is.
This is like when Yama like awakened his powers.
It's after 66 for season 3. Definitely after chapter 66. I can say that for certain. What chapter is Bam versus White in season 3? Season 3, chapter 82 is what AI is telling me. Season 3. So a couple interesting things to note in this fight between Bam and White is that the girl kept on trying to. Bam could have left. He could have left. He could have accomplished his mission by saving Junsung. There's also a timer that's going on, so if Bam doesn't leave in time, like he would fail in every sense of the word. So they have to leave in a certain amount of time. But despite him needing to save his teacher, despite him needing to like leave in a certain amount of time, he stayed. And one of the big things that he noted is he couldn't forgive himself if he left. He needs to confront White. And this is the White that's like the strongest he's been so far that was giving Caliban some trouble. So White is extremely powerful right now. And Bam still wants to fight him 1v1. That's kind of like the big thing happening in this situation. Oh, were you able to find it?
I was able to find his crash out. Give me 1 second.
I forget the girl's name. The girl also ends up helping Bam fight White as well because she started liking Bam. And this is one of the big things about Bam. Bam's personality, being just genuinely kind, makes people want to follow him. But yeah, Bam crashes out hard in this after learning about what happens to his friends because Bam thought this entire time they were alive. They didn't tell Bam that they were dead. And that's why Bam crashed out and wanted to fight White 1v1. This battle was very tough. He had to really overcome White in this particular situation. And the way White was like cooking. I'm trying to remember exactly how he eventually overcame White. I think it was one crazy ability that Bam has in particular is he's able to copy and like magnify people's abilities, which is one of the things he did because the other girl, she can control your perception of time. Bam copied that ability and then made it stronger. So that's just one thing that Bam can do that's freaking broken as hell. Another big thing for this is that Bam was able to kind of use White's ability against him in this fight and was able to kind of absorb the souls, I'm pretty sure. So, what are your general thoughts about this fight?
Well, it added another layer to their dynamic. They obviously, even though they have to end up keep working together throughout the series, they definitely have a lot of bad blood, and it shows because White is like a accumulation of like multiple different people. So like it shows like, of course, the awful side to him, but at the same time, like in some ways, he is empathetic towards Bam. But I feel like because he's empathetic towards Bam, that's also why he hates him. if that makes sense.
Empathetic.
He
What do you
relates a
mean by
lot.
empathetic?
He relates a lot to Bam, and that's why he hates Bam. Like Bam is like almost like a mirror to him in a lot of ways, and that's what drives him crazy.
I think Bam possesses something that he wants. I think it's more of a
That too.
wanting.
But in terms of like personality, I feel like they have more similarities than like White wants to admit.
Well, White wants to corrupt him. I think that's a big thing, and that is something that they say all the time because eventually White kind of corrupted himself to try to be like his dad.
Yeah, he sees himself in Bam. That's why he wants to corrupt
For
himself.
sure. I agree to that because one of the big things that White keeps on trying to do, he wants Bam to kind of agree with his philosophy where if you guys don't remember, White is a psychopath. He allows millions of people to die just so he can absorb their souls. It's like, stop caring about all this. Just become like me. Want the power. But Bam won't. Proving that White's philosophy is bullshit.
Is it bullshit though? Because low key it be working sometimes. And low key be working.
Well, did it work? He got sealed.
I mean, he did get sealed, but hey, when he cooking, he cooking.
When he cooking, well, he didn't cook here. Bam packed his ass up. One of the most satisfying victories in Tower of God is when Bam packed a White, put him on a t-shirt.
Put him on a t-shirt. But they'll have a few more fights. I think they'll have at least 2 more fights in this series.
I don't know. I am unsure the likeliness of White returning.
Oh, I definitely think White's returning. I feel like he's
at the very least, I don't see him returning as he is because it'd be kind of crazy if the new version loses to White like multiple times. At some point, you got to learn a lesson. Like you can't let this guy. I think he's done.
Oh, that version of White. If you're talking about that version of White in particular, then maybe, or maybe he shows up one more time at some point. But White, the character, it's the overall character of White is definitely gonna be.
Oh yeah, but he won't be evil necessarily.
You never know.
I'm on chapter 89 on season 3. I think this is the first time Bam uses a transcendent skill, which is like, think of your ultimate move in Tower of God. That's what Bam learns. Also a big thing, Bam surpasses his limits against White. I think he actually dies or is very close to death in this fight and then beats White. Like he dropped his sword. It was tough. And then White has to go all out. This was like a tough battle where White used a better sword in this battle as well. This was a crazy fight. To kind of speedrun it, I do recommend people to go look at it, and hopefully the anime gets it done well. I'm trying to remember exactly how Bam defeated him, so we kind of have that. Maybe it's in like 92, I believe, chapter 92. Try to check that one out. Where he eventually defeats him for good. But yeah, Bam beats this version of White and becomes. I do want to put that out there because copyright can be a bit sometimes, so I'm gonna be a little safe with that.
There's any big panels?
Try 9. I'm looking for 92. Yeah, he does a crazy move in 92. Yeah, go there.
I'm trying to see if it's at that because sometimes they put it like at the end of 91 or like the end of the chapter before. So I'm looking at the end of 91.
Oh yeah. This is a very important part. 92 shows it, and then the ending of 91.
All right, I'm almost at the end of 91.
Because in chapter 92, where Bam is just like unlocking his full powers, basically. In this situation, Bam is willing to do whatever it takes to defeat White, and completely destroy him. This is his black hole Shinsu Spear. It's one of the most powerful abilities in Tower of God. And one interesting thing is like the monster inside of Bam is noting that the souls that are in Bam is getting absorbed. So Bam is willing to go there and absorb the souls he's meant to protect to defeat White, making Bam's moral character a little bit more ambiguous. He's not this pure good guy anymore. So yeah, he defeats him. I'm trying to remember exactly. He's able to rain down Shinsu onto White, which was kind of crazy because he just it's like when they rain down spiritual pressure in Bleach.
Yeah, I was gonna say to show that gray area, the like you said, one of the demons inside him is like, oh, the souls that were hiding, they're climbing, oh, they want revenge against White. Then he's just like, no, they're trying to avoid Bam's power to get the souls that he was supposed to be hoarding and helping out are trying not to get eaten alive by Bam's power.
Yeah, and they also note in this chapter that Bam is officially stronger than White. White admits it, that Bam is stronger than him. And then eventually down the line, White has to do whatever it takes. And then Bam eventually defeats him. Go check it out fully. But this is just one of those fights that we probably needed to give a little bit more detail because it's one of the most important fights in Tower of God for Bam's character and Bam like growth to being able to just outright defeat White in a 1v1. It's very impressive. Also, Kun's brother Asancio shows up, the one that works with Masheni, the one that was in the past. He shows up helping Kun because Masheni has her own plans that's going on throughout all of this. So that was like Bam's journey to deal with White. And that was very important. But anything else you want to say before we transition to one of the other characters and what they got going on?
Arsenio is like low-key one of my favorite characters. He shows up in a lot of different areas, and I just think he's dope. He's another spear fighter, or what do they call his class?
Spear bearer.
Yes, he's a spear bearer, which is like what the Kun family are known for. It's what Kun should be, but chooses not to be. Chooses to be a light bearer. But we see what happens. We saw what happened in season 2 or season 3 when he uses a spear.
I think season 2.
Okay. Yeah, we see that he has a talent, but outside of maybe the family head, Aseno is probably the best person we see use a spear. So all the Kuns are problems, so
all of them are problems. But yeah, Bam finished up that fight. And then moving on to the other big thing that happens, Yama confronts Yasaracha. Now, this is huge in terms of like lore dump because Yama is taking on Yasaracha. Yama does face him twice again in this confrontation. He faces him the first time. Yasaracha completely overpowers him because he's just so much more powerful. Doom puts one of the fangs inside him, one of his father's fangs, into Yama. Yama sees his father's memories and he realizes like Yasaracha and his father's past. And to kind of go over it, because I do think it's a little extensive, Yasaracha and Yama eventually meet again. They fight. Yama's completely different in how he acts towards Yasaracha for a good reason, because Yama has a different appreciation of who Yasaracha is in the overall context of their past. We find out that Yasaracha he's actually, this is the thing about Tower of God. The concept of good versus bad is not that easy to understand. It's just like, there's so much moral gray. Yasaracha, I would argue, fits in the moral gray. Despite everything he does, he's not simply good or bad. It started out with like the workshop. Yama's dad and Yasaracha came from the same workshop. They had to survive. They were the last two, the cat and dog. They used to be friends. Eventually, Traumere, which is the family leader of the family that they're a part of, Traumere wanted both of them to be recruited. They recruited it. Yama's dad has the instinct to serve a master, so he does it willingly. Yama's dad's also extremely powerful. So Traumere, this guy becomes the loyal dog to Traumere. And then in this situation, he, even gets like women, gets people pregnant when Traumere says so. Eventually meets an ancient spirit who's connected to another canine person that ends up being Yama's mother. Whole bunch of stuff happens. without going into much detail, I recommend reading this arc. It was a very good backstory, but they want Yama's dad to leave Traumary's side because and the Traumary doesn't care about his family at all. He's more than willing to let them die. So there's a weird choice because he's so loyal to his master, but he also loves his family. He's willing to bite his owner for his family. It's one of those type of situations, which cause friction. Yasuracha has his own ulterior motives because he's close friends with him. He's been trying to help him, trying to get him out and stop being a loyal dog. Eventually, Yama's mother and Yasuracha come up with a plan. Yasuracha betrayed him. Traumary knew about the plan. Traumary kills Yama's wife. Traumary also like not manipulates Yasuracha, but puts Yasuracha in an ultimatum where the Yama's dad has to be loyal, lets the people almost kill him. Yasuracha kills him. Yasuracha decides to do his final wish by saving his sons and getting his sons out of there so they can go live their own life, and ends up being Traumary's loyal servant. Come to find out that Yasuracha has been working behind the scenes. The reason why he's doing all these experiments is he wants to be powerful enough to kill Traumary. That is like the crazy backstory of Yasuracha. Is he bad? Yeah, he did betray. Yeah, he's selfish. But is he like pure evil? A lot of his times, not so much. I think a perfect personification of this is the moment where one of Yasuracha's like underlings who was like liked animals say like convince these people to be friendly with the bunnies, and then come to find out that's the prey of some other thing, and then they started attacking the village. So Yasuracha was actually correct on how he approached it before, not this guy. So it's like nature is not that simple. You can't be doing that, of course. So it's pretty interesting. How do you feel about the backstory of Yama, his family, and how do you feel about Yasuracha's character?
So Yasura's character, like I didn't like him at first because came off first as like just a complete dick, but it made sense with the backstory. Like he acted more like a cat, the dog, the dynamic between that. But I feel bittersweet about his character because I wish his character lasted longer than what it did. I felt like him and Yama had like a very good, interesting dynamic, especially like with the backstory in place. I felt like they both could have grown, if that makes sense. But I don't think we'll really get that. So, but it ultimately led down to like the introduction of the family head, who we all know is well, it was our first like real introduction to a family head, and he's coming off as pure evil. So
It was interesting. I find Yasuracha's character arc very interesting. Charmary's design, man, the family leaders' designs are so freaking peak, bro. They are really nice designs. With that said, yeah, the character arc was pretty good. I very much like the backstory. I do think it's one of the better ones, and put everything in perspective. And Yama actually started like having a appreciation for Yasuracha, even though he still was pissed off about Yasuracha. Is a very interesting dynamic, but eventually leading Caliban and Learbrook situation, they had a mini fight. Loki Caliban got bodied by Learbrook. I'm not gonna lie. So Learbrook just proved he's kind of Himothy. And then Evan Kell is trying to destroy the place, but she was sent to a different location. They're trying to free the canines. A bunch of stuff's happening. They're trying to prevent the portal from allowing the family ship. They thought they did it. They didn't. Traumary shows up. At the same time, Traumary shows up. Bam has to go save Jinsung. So two important things are happening at the same time.
real quick, in the flashback with Yama's dad, we get to see another ancient that the head families sealed away, which were like these giant creatures that have these powers that can rival the high rankers and stuff like that. So I thought it was because like we know that they had like this big war, we just don't really know anything about it except like these creatures, and then also the dinosaur nigga, I forget his name, that hangs out with Bam.
Rack.
Yeah, he's like a descendant of these guys, and Yeah, so it just showed another faction that eventually we're gonna have to deal with.
Indeed. I th- Miles, I don't know what Miles is trying to figure out. I think they're probably trying to record their spawned in, trying to figure out where that is. Um, so yeah, it is a very interesting with the ancients. It just shows you that the Tower of God lore is much deeper than we think. Um, but fast forwarding, Traumerry does show up. Bam is able to make it to his destination. White is now like the other brother, so he's like took over his body. They're joining Bam's team, and they meet Masheni, and Masheni has an all ulterior motive. She wants them to go to a certain location before they free Jinsung, and that location was like where Traumerry's biggest like weakness is at, and that is a monster, a leviathan that was eating Traumerry's memories, because Traumerry was. This is a very interesting thing that will be very important later on. Traumerry's memories, he was deleting them on purpose because he didn't want to remember something he's done in his past. So the Leviathan was eating it. Bam shows up. He was able to free the Leviathan and take control because Bam is a freaking broken OP hacks machine, and take the power of the Leviathan, which obviously was huge. And then the family leaders, Traumerry's there, and Machete was like, okay, good. They free Jinsung, and then Traumerry gets Bam and makes Bam a proposal. With the help of Jinsung and Kun, I get. Oh, they couldn't do. No, it was mostly Jinsung. A proposal to start a marriage tournament to marry Bam, so Bam could join his family. That will happen later on, and yeah, that basically concludes this arc. Also, at the moment Traumerry shows up, nobody could do a thing because none of them are strong enough to even like look at him. So there was levels to this. The only people who were confident enough to look at him was Bam, because Bam is just a demon now. He just don't give a fuck. He's a demon, and Jinsung. Everybody else, head down, head down. Also, to keep in mind, Macheni wanted this to happen because Macheni has her own ulterior motive regarding the family leaders, and she also likes war. She just really, really likes war. So this is the end of the Nest arc. Kind of crazy situation. A lot of battles happen, and it ends with a family leader showing up in Tower of God. Not the first family leader we saw. First family leader we saw was Gustong, the GOAT. But how'd you feel about Traumerry's appearance and how Traumerry basically shut this shit down?
I thought it was really dope just how he showed up and just how everyone acts around him, because low key everyone hates him. Everyone despises him, but they show him nothing but the utmost respect. And it's interesting because like what we see like with other family leaders, like whether it's flashbacks or whatever, he's kind of indifferent about everything. He wants what he wants, and everything else he just doesn't care about. It just means nothing to him. So, especially when you're running a family and you don't care about anything or anyone, you can definitely see where the resentment builds and lies. We also see how he treats things and people, and everybody's just disposable or toys when their whole purpose is to basically serve and worship him. And so it's like you're kind of worshiping a god that like doesn't give a fuck about you. How does that make your family feel and stuff like that? So in this season 3, we get to see a lot of the dysfunction in the Lobao family, a lot of the ulterior motives, especially since half of them want to just kill him or figure out a way to get rid of him. And I feel like he's not ignorant to any of it. He just doesn't care. But at the same time, how strong do you have to be where it's like, like half the people in your closest circle just don't want you there, but they can't do nothing about you. So you're just chilling, going about your business.
Yeah, I think Traumerry's character is actually very interesting. And I do think we'll have to come full circle once we get a reveal of like everything about who he is, especially once he gets his memories back. Once he gets his memories back, I think that's probably the truest essence of who this guy is. And it also begs the question of like, what is going on with this tower? Like, why did they do what they did? So we got a little time skip. I would say probably the low point of this arc is like this like marriage stuff. It kind of was the reason why I dropped. Like, I don't care about a marriage tournament. What? Um, I didn't drop it. I just like stopped reading for a bit. Honestly, after reading, I was like, oh, it's actually like not about marriage at all. There's actually again way bigger motivation.
I was like, it got nothing to do with marriage.
It did force certain interesting situations. Of course, we had princesses. It made the twins much more important into the story. All of a sudden, huge family drama. Shit, we thought Game of Thrones was family drama. Nah, the Trout Mary family, that's family drama, bro. There was so much stuff going on here. And right before they leave, Bam was tested, proved he was Timothy. They made a whole bunch of stipulations. Goose Dong. No, we'll save that part. I'm trying to, yeah. So they Bam, Jin Sung, and one of the other guys got sent over to the like a hotel run by the Trameri family to set everything up. A bunch of princesses, folk members, all of them showed up. It's like, oh, is this a marriage tournament or is it? No, it's much bigger. There's an ulterior motive going on here at the same time. And the only important things to note here is a couple of characters return. I don't feel it necessary to go into some of the minor like events that happen. I don't really care about the snake stuff, to be honest, like the twin daughters. They're okay. Like I didn't really care about that, but they're all right. Go ahead.
The snake stuff though is interesting and important because we see that's not the only like snake creature. Like for some reason,
Yes.
for some reason these snake creatures are in charge of like these princesses of Jihad. And so like that means they're also closely connected to Jihad himself because the only family members of Jihad are the princesses. And Jihad has these snake men or creatures, whatever, raise them, but they all every time you meet one, they seem evil as hell. So does that mean Jihad's evil because he's letting like these evil snake nannies run his princesses? And what's like their why are they serving Jihad to this extent? And like what are their motives behind everything? So
Yeah, because even though the snake dude we meet is not the one that raised Dorsey, they're similar. Um, which is very important. So yeah, and Dorsey returns back into the story. Yeah, this is the snake dude. Extremely powerful, by the way. He helps his daughter, which I guess I'm still unsure about the daughter part, but it's like the twins. So the twins are a part of it. Saving one of the women, which is the daughter of one of the most important members of the family. She has her own ulterior motive. And Dorsey returns. That's big. And Dorsey returns to Tower of God to simp on Bam and be a taxi. Like, let's be honest. To this point, what is her character other than simping on Bam and being a taxi? Like,
yo, she be getting it done though.
She be getting it done.
And also, who's sipping on who? Who's sipping on who?
It's only because Bam's a nice guy, bro.
No, okay, I'm a nice guy. I don't do that. I'll do that.
She still thinks she's stronger than Bam. That shit is crazy. She still thinks she's stronger than Bam. There's levels, and she's like not even close. Not anymore.
She's not close
yeah. So actually, huge moment in this arc. Bam beats a high ranker 1v1. He faced another returning character, the one that was in season 1 of Tower of God, the one in the weird suit. He returns. He-she. Yes, it's an interesting he-she situation. He-she returns. Yes, this guy. And he takes on Bam 1v1. It's actually a really interesting fight in all intents and purposes. How'd you feel about this fight?
I thought it was a good litmus test to see where Bam.
Michael, we are caught up about Tower of God. We're talking about the entire thing. Season 3. We're talking about season 3 right now.
Yeah, we're talking about season 3 right now. I thought it was a good litmus test for Bam because like we kind of get to see like another ranker's hacks and things like that, and how he can deal with that. I still don't think like this character is necessarily strong in the verse, but like definitely stronger than like any of the regulars around Bam. So like we gotta get to see where he's at, and kind of just also throws in another layer of the Low Bow family and how they all just have their own motives.
They do. It was an interesting situation, and the fact that he was like born male and female, it was also a very interesting way that they kind of portrayed that too. So Bam defeated this guy, and this is just an example. It is told in Dorsey and the other princess. Bam is stronger than a high ranker now. Like he is high ranker plus level. Um, so that was a big thing that happened in this arc. Another big thing that happened in this arc, of course, we got Gustong. They're doing their own things. They have their own motives for everything. They sent some troopers there. Rachel is back in the story. She has her own plans going on, working with one of the Gustong's sons.
I think they're just a ranker. I don't think they're a high ranker.
I'm pretty sure. I actually don't know for certain.
Oh, but this is his form when he's not in that cute little ball suit thing.
This is a pretty cool design. The guy. This is him, not the monster thing. This is what he looks like for people. This is his male version. He has a female version as well. For all those simps out there, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's Pride Month.
True. Shout out Boruto. So when it comes down to it, this was interesting. I'm trying to remember. Bam defeated him. Gustong and his family is happening. There's a big plan regarding them. A couple people were sent to mess things up, and one interesting person was sent to mess things up. An extremely powerful princess of the Gustong family. Now I gotta get her name right. She's a freaking demon. What's her name? What's the princess of Gustong's family's name? What's her name?
The one with the glasses.
The one with the glasses. She's broken as hell.
She is cracked. I'm trying to find a panel of her. Loki, one of my favorite characters right now.
Loki, I like her. Damn it, she's a complete psychopath. She chose not to be a Jihad princess. She has all the capabilities to be a Jihad princess. She shows up into the story to fuck things up, and Yuri shows back into the story to fuck things up as well, which is also very interesting because obviously Yuri is one of the stronger members of the Tower of God universe. She's from the Hawk clan. This is her. Demon. Anything she thinks of, she basically can recreate.
This is all her.
And she doesn't even feel bad about it. Think of Grammy, but like good. That's her.
Yeah.
She's cracked.
She's just one of those silent nerd like serial killer girls. Basically.
How do you feel about quick question? How do you feel about Yuri's dynamic with Bam? Sometimes I get the sense of like this is older sister vibes. Other time, like I hope we're not moving into like she has things. I don't want to move it into like she has a thing for Bam. I don't want that.
He's in the middle because like there are times where like she's guiding him, like when people's comments are like, oh, like you care about him, like you care about his progression and his growth. And then there are other times where it's like she is like attracted to him. So it's like
recognizing he's handsome and being attracted.
Yeah, like I feel like she finds him attractive, but she's not attracted to him, if that makes sense. Like she acknowledges that he's like pretty, but like she's there to like take care of him.
Yeah, that's how I prefer to look at it because I stand by it. This is kind of how I feel about this story compared to like some other ones. There's only one person that is relatively interesting as a dynamic for Bam, and that is the truth. It is Rachel. Everybody else is not interesting. And Dorsey is a simp, and Yuri would be kind of weird. So
I'd rather Yuri or them before Rachel, but
Rachel in Bam is the most interesting story dynamic. It is the truth.
I think especially since like she she knows things about Bam where I feel like she would never want to be with Bam. She would never want to be with Bam. Like she appreciates Bam, she cares about Bam in her own twisted, messed up ways. But like she said before, like she has a relationship with his mother and some like we don't know what it is, but she has like relationship with his mother. So that means like she might be as old as his mom and stuff like that. So like if she
Age
knew
is just a number in Tower of God.
it is, but if she knew him since he was a baby, does that change things? It might change things. So I don't know. But also like I feel like her just pure resentment towards Bam, that ain't ever gonna happen. At least it should never happen. But hey, I
Man,
also got there. Even though this is a long, hey, this is a Hail Mary, but there's another princess that we're probably gonna meet in season 4, and who knows? Maybe they might have a thing with Bam. Who knows? So
what princess could you possibly be talking about?
I don't know the one that got sent out that's getting sent to kill him. So
No, no.
it's a long shot, but it can happen. It's a long
No,
shot,
no,
but it
no,
can
no,
happen.
no, no, no,
Hey,
no, no.
they all find him pretty. They all find my boy Bam pretty. Girl, angry coon chick trying to kill you. Hey, she might be like, "Oh, he one of them ones. Oh, and you're cool, with my brother, man."
No.
I see it. I see the connect, like the coon relations. You know, that's like the dude's sister. It could work out. It could work out.
Or Kun betrays Bam. We'll talk about that. And so yeah, Yuri shows up. The Gusong girl shows up. They actually have a fight. Their dynamic are immediately one of my favorites in Tower of God between Yuri and what's her name? What is her name? Jesus, I need to know her name. She's too good of a character to not have her name very clear.
Oh,
Gustav.
it's I just found the panel where she introduces
cool.
her. So her name is Po Bida.
Tiara. Yes. Tiara is her name. So
Yep.
Tiara and
Famous
Yuri,
stuff.
they were beefing. That was a pretty cool fight. There obviously there a lot of stuff happened. A couple of betrayals happened in this. Everybody's trying to find their own path, figure out what's going on. And they're trying to escape from this location. We also have a very interesting situation while all of this is taking place and they're about to escape. Kun confronts Traumere in a chess match. How'd you feel about this? Because in this situation, Kun is trying to buy time so they can escape from this location. How do you feel about Kun confronting a family leader in a chess match? How do you feel about that?
Kun's always gonna be one of my favorites because like how he uses his brain, and even though he knows, I feel like because we follow Bam and Bam is so ignorant to the tower, we forget that Kun knows so much, and so Kun knows like the weight of like even interacting with a family head, and so to challenge him to a chess match, like in his world, that's something of itself. That's already like a big ass deal that you're even talking to a family head, and now you're challenging them to anything. That's like basically like challenging a god, and you're a regular ass human. You're not even a ranker. You're a regular. He can like blink at you. He can like blow wind at you, and you'll blow away into thin air. So yeah, it showed a lot of Kun's like mental fortitude because I feel like there's a fear factor with that, and also just like his cunning, and also again his loyalty to Bam, which we know will be questioned in season 4. But no, really, hey, I was proud of Kun.
Yeah, he tried to outsmart Traumere. It actually ended up not working. Traumere, people, every single family leader is like a super genius. Every single one. No matter how smart Kun thinks he is, there's levels. So Traumere was onto him the entire time. And sometimes it makes you kind of like, bro, what do these guys not know? Like we kind of reached to that point when it comes to the family leaders, which is why once they kind of face against like crazy situations, it makes it very interesting. One example of a crazy situation is that there's a person who's trying to really get into his head. That's Gustong. I forgot to mention it in last arc. Gusong showed up to fuck things up, to like distract Traumeri and just destroy a bunch of shit. And at the end of this arc, Gusong shows up again to help the guys escape and actually wants them to escape to his location. And this is where Kun finally gets his get back, because in a situation where nobody could do anything, when Gusong and Traumeri, two family leaders, face to face, everybody else is irrelevant, Kun steps up and tries to leverage his authority and creates a challenge for both of them. That took balls.
It took a lot of balls.
And the reason why he did it is because he doesn't want them to dictate what Bam's path is. So he needed to create something that gives them a chance to create their own path, which I respect. So Gusong, Traumeri confront each other. What were you thinking when this happened?
Hold on 1 second, because there was something I wanted to show. If I can find it.
What are you looking for?
I can probably show a little bit of it. It was when Kun first challenged them. Look at the.
I'll just moving forward, just like so.
It's like
just
the-
move it to presentation. That's just better way. Just switch the scenes on the left.
I got you. Yeah, just the room that he is like. It kind of makes you think like, what are the family heads? Because this isn't like anything other like this. Like everyone else has like regular rooms, and this is like some next level other dimension type power that he has. So it makes you seem like if Bam's supposed to get to that type of level, how much farther does Bam have to go?
You keep it up, and then I'll just switch it like that. Just changing the scenes. You see the scenes on the left?
Can I?
You could just click on it and then change the scenes, and then it'll just change what it looks like.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay. Yeah, the family leaders are the presentation of the family leaders is one of my favorite in like manga manhwa. They are really larger than life. I made a video about like this is one of the best overpowered groups I've seen. They're all extremely intelligent, extremely powerful. They never seem rattled. The only time they get like relatively rattled is when they're up against people on their level. Like it is crazy, and they're all very unique. Traumeri and Gusong are very different people in every sense of the word.
I have a panel of Gusong up on there.
All right, presentation. The GOAT. That's my guy right there, man.
He a dog. He a dog. He doesn't even look. He doesn't look it, but that boy a problem.
He is Himothy. So he shows up. Kun was able to make up a ulterior plan. The plan was like they meet up, and then there's a huge challenge involving a chess game and all that stuff later on. And then while all of this is happening, there is a bunch of other stuff that's happening at the same time. Like Yama, there's stuff going on with Yama and his group. There's stuff going on with like the third family head of Traumeri's family. They're getting into grips with something. So a lot of moving pieces. And we find out very quickly the reason why all of this is happening is not because Traumeri wants Bam to be part of his family necessarily. Traumeri knows that a big war is happening between the family leaders. He's very aware of it. He knows that Jihad is all this stuff is going on with Jihad. So he wants to tip the balance. The reason why Bam is so important is because all the family leaders are like at the same level. All of them are at the same level. So if you have someone like Bam, who could be potentially at the same level as a family leader one day, you change the balance of power. That's why Traumeri wants Bam in his family, to change the balance of power. That's the whole goal that was going on here. Gusong wants Bam for his own reasons, and we find out a little bit more about what he wants him. So, this is where like the story gets very convoluted. I would say this final saga, this final arc, because a bunch of different things are happening, and just keep in mind, Traumary's family's falling apart. This entire situation, Traumary's family falling apart. I'm trying to think of the best way to kind of go about
Well, if you
each
show
thing.
pull up the panel,
Got you.
I can explain the family dynamic. So this is Traumary's oldest son, who you would, I guess, would be the second strongest in the family. He's
Either him or the demon.
well, I think they're basically tied, but I still think he's supposed to have like the slight edge because of like
Okay.
experience and things like that. This is Yama's new form.
And he's also the father of that one woman, the blonde woman,
The blonde woman that has the princess twins.
and the snake dude. Yeah.
So yeah, that is their faction. I think you can see the other one, and I can pull it if you take it down. I'll pull up the second.
Yeah. So he's in one faction, very loyal to Traumary and wants to keep the family together. Then there's like a traitor. Then there's I guess something really quick to mention. Bam needed an escort to go with him to keep tabs on him. The escort that went with him is the father of the no-name woman. Her father, he sucks. He was an awful father in every sense of the word. He was a bit bad. Bam kind of owned him. He was a little bitch. So that actually happened. And then the most important parts of the family is the dude he just showed, and then the red demon dude that shows up consistently throughout. And he's very important, especially in relation to like the big thing that happens a little bit later. But yeah, Traumary's family got their own kind of ulterior motives. They're trying to find a way to kind of cripple Gustong, and by getting a book of his that they're trying to capture. They also team up with Yama, Karaka, and Yasracha, and a bunch of them. They're kind of teaming up to kind of help this force. So that's happening. While this is happening, Bam and their squad are going to the event and trying to figure out what is going on. They're trying to go to the tree, a big like important tree. I'm trying to remember exactly what they were doing while this was happening. Eventually, they meet up with the dude.
Right
You said what?
Pull up the panel because I feel like this part's really important to season 3. Oh, so when Gustong and the other family head are talking about like why they both want Bam, Gustong says like when back in season 2, like when on the floor of death, he saw like what Bam was truly capable of, and they actually are referring to the regulars. And so basically Gustong's goal is to kind of use the irregulars to kill the rest of the head families.
Yes. He wants all the family leaders, including Jahan, to die.
And then another interesting fact, he basically showed him what looks like an Apple Watch.
Yeah, the Apple Watch.
And it is confirmed they're not on Earth. Whatever, like the tower is not on Earth. Earth is real. Earth is a planet, but it's not where the tower is. So I don't know where the tower is specifically in the universe, but Earth is somewhere else.
It made me think, are they just in a game? I did think about that. If it's just a big game, but I feel like
I can explain. They're not in the game. They're not in the game, but they are.
Oh, is this something mentioned in Uruk side story?
It's not just Uruk, but it is like the overall what is Tower of God, because Tower of God is not just Tower of God. But I can explain that a little bit after. Tower of God is one of the stories in the overarching universe.
Interesting. Okay.
But
We'll get into that.
It also explains what Uruk is and another character that I'll get into, and what Bam is.
Yeah, we'll probably have a stream talking about the Uruk side story in itself, especially before season 4 eventually drops. But
I'll still give like the highlights of the important stuff and how it integrates into season 3. The parts that integrated season 3, I'll give like a little highlights of that. But yeah, Earth is apparently just a planet, like either planets away or it's in the galaxy, but they're not on Earth. They're in a tower, and there's also multiple towers.
So interesting. So to kind of go over this, I'm gonna kind of just focus on like different nitbits of like everybody's role in like the final culmination of what this story is. Of course, we already talked about some. We got Traumary's family, which are having like a infighting civil war. There's factions fighting amongst Traumary's family and what they're doing. And that is a big problem as we go out, where some people are doing their own thing and a lot of death is happening. While this is happening, Gustong's family is coming up with a plan and they have like interesting, crazy technology and are just fucking slaughtering Traumary's family right now. While all of this is happening, Traumary doesn't give two fucks. He doesn't care that his family's dying, which is a big issue with who Traumary is. So Gusong's family has the benefit of being able to do this because they have a unique battleship that's able to destroy a lot of them. Also, they are planning accordingly, and they're having the help of like a very smart individual that's kind of like helping with them. That wants to kill the family leaders too. He actually got recruited by Gustong because he wants him again. Gustong not only wants the family leaders dead, he wants himself dead as well. Rachel's also kind of helping in all of this by utilizing her technology, but she also has her own ulterior motives while all of this is going on. Bam is kind of trying to figure out exactly how to kind of end all of this. And while all of this is happening, Traumary and Gustong, well, Traumary is trying to track down Bam. Gustong is getting in his way, of course. That's kind of a big thing that's happening. A huge moment. Oh, I forgot to mention this, but Rack and Kun did get a power up by taking some of White's soul. That actually happened a little bit. Now they're able to fly. So forgot to mention that a little bit earlier. And
just small fact. So before Yurik, like regulars are not supposed to be able to fly unless you have like wings. It's very disturbing to the tower that regulars are around here flying without wings, and it's causing like an uproar within itself. Like it's supposed to be reserved only for rankers and high rankers.
yeah, it's actually very impressive. It's like when Goten learned how to fly. Like it's not a normal thing, man. It's not a normal thing, but that just shows you Kun and Rack got a huge power boost. A little bit later on, might as well mention the Rack's big moments is he transformed into like this freaking crazy monster where he was able to beat a higher level. I don't think she was a high ranker, but higher level ranker 1v1. So Rack has the capability once he accesses ancient powers to defeat rankers. That was a very interesting thing that happened. I don't remember Kun doing anything else. One interesting thing is about like this little monster thing. I forget what it's called. What is the monster thing that Traumary creates? What is he called again?
I just saw the panel where he was like escaping up. I know you're talking the blue goo.
Enkidu. That's what he's called. So Enkidu is a big part of this story because Enkidu knows Traumary from his past, and he wants to kill Traumary for his own reasons. And we'll kind of get into that when we talk about the family leaders dynamic a little bit in depth. I'm trying to go over everything else so we can like talk about the most interesting part of this is the family leaders and their story. Is there any other parts worth bringing up that's not the family leader stuff?
Didn't Rachel try interfering with the test?
Rachel tried what?
Interfering with the final game.
Yeah, Rachel was there. She didn't really do anything of substance. She was there though, and Dorsey was there as well. I'm not going to explain how all the game works and the pieces work. Might as well mention this. We'll get there. We're kind of jumbling apart. This is like a very convoluted arc, like I said. The red dude betrayed Traumary. So the red demon dude betrayed Traumary, and he's working with a different organization from the red district. Now, this is a very crazy plot shift. And the red district, we've been talked about a couple of times through Wong Dong, who I'm actually kind of irritated. Wong Dong didn't do anything in season 3. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of irritating, but it is what it is. Hopefully he gets a big power boost for season 4. But the red district is like the dumping ground for jihad. So anything he doesn't want, he just throws it in there, and it eventually over time people were like creating a society in there in that red district area. And just think of it like Gacha Kuda. It's like this like different group on the underground that is creating their own society. And one of the things that's over there is a copy of Jihad. So Jihad sends copies of himself that he doesn't like for some reason. I forget the exact reason. But I think it's probably related to his memories, maybe. But he sends copies of himself to the Red District. One of the copies became the leader. That's the leader of the snake dude that showed up. That went after Bam. And then he created his own family leader group, and they tried to invade by working with the Red Demon dude. And I do think they're kind of working with Rachel as well, to invade and kill all the family leaders. So we have another group with the Red District group and the copy of Jihad that wants to take over the tower because they have been forgotten and thrown aside like trash. What did you think about this twist of the Red District becoming this new organization?
Um, it showed another faction, but like what they've been alluding to since like I believe like the middle of season one is that like the family heads are low key incomplete or like they're missing things, and I guess like the whatever like whether it's memories or people or creatures or whatever, they're all dumped down into that red district. So red district is just kind of a cesspool for all kinds of whether it's lore, secrets, weapons, possibly. I feel like eventually Bam's gonna have to go to the red district.
Oh, for sure.
He has to because there's way too many references where like it has to be explored.
What do you think about the concept of copies of Jihad?
Well, we saw that was possible in season two, like when they went into the video game. That basically
Right.
kept like another version of themselves. Now, if they are doing things like removing certain emotions or memories or things like that, or versions of them, which basically creates the different versions of themselves, then I don't know. I feel like it's gonna. I feel like it also helps for the story, like establish a rapport between Bam and Jihad. If he keeps on meeting different versions of Jihad, it kind of like it eventually leads up to like their eventual meeting. But
Well, the only dynamic that matters is Bam and Wangnan.
what do you mean?
Because in all intents and purposes, I think it's safe to assume that Wangnan's probably a copy, and so is Karaka.
I don't know about Karaka. I know they're brothers, but I don't know if Karaka's necessarily from Jihad. He could be from like one of the other families.
The son of a copy.
I could see that.
Well, the reason why the duality is now fascinating with copies is we're just regurgitating V and Jihad.
Mhm.
This with Wangnan and Bam. So are they going to able to? Because I'm guessing this is like
Well, I'm saying Wang Yang is still like you said, he needs some type of power up to because Bam is because Wang Yang is probably like the weakest character we know right now, and Bam is one of the strongest. If
but
not
he
the
got heart though.
Yeah, but the heart ain't gonna do shit where they're at right now. With everyone that they're dealing with right now, Chad has heart. What Chad do in 1,000 Year Blood War?
You know. Yeah, I don't. With the copies of Jihad, I don't know how we're gonna play into who Wangnan and Karaka really are now. Now that we have this dynamic, now they do have a ring, and did we see the copy from the Red District? Did he have a ring? I don't
I don't
remember.
remember if he had a ring, but he had like the symbol on him.
Oh man, it sounds like they're all just copies.
Copies, different versions, or things like
And Wannan's from the Red District too.
alternate versions. I don't know. They could be a litmus of things, but oh, it was interesting.
So
They also keep on referencing that Jihad knows this, Jihad knows that, Jihad knows. So how does Jihad know all these different things that are happening? That's another thing. Because he knows things are happening low key before they happen. He's sending people after Bam before Bam even like really establishes himself. He knows things about that. He knows what the family members are doing. I'm pretty sure he knows what Gustong is doing. He just doesn't give a fuck. So, what's Jihad's main goal besides just keeping the tower at bay?
well, he eventually gave a fuck because he sent someone to destroy Gustav. Eventually, we'll get to that. But also it begs the question of like that one person who gave the future to Doan and the other dude, was that a copy of Jihad as well? Like the Jihad stuff is kind of crazy, but the Red District guys, I mean, again, are they good? Are they evil? Does it matter? Because the family leaders are not good. The only thing we know for certain is that Uruk wanted to stop all of that. We'll get to that demon showing back up in a second. But yeah, the Red District and them working with the organization to take down the family leaders was kind of a crazy twist, I would say. Definitely a crazy twist. And they have their own motivations. Then we also got Fug. Don't forget, Fug's still in an organization. And surprise, surprise, we get the leader of Fug finally showing up, and Luslek, he shows up to the story. He has his own motives too, because he wants to kill the family leaders as well. Seems like he's more than willing to allow them to cause chaos. So the Red District guys are causing chaos. Gusong and Traumari's family's causing chaos. And then we got Fug and Luslek causing chaos. Ani, who can stop all of this?
Sometimes there just comes a dog. But you don't just need a dog. I feel like you need a dog. So I'm not just talking about like a Kenpachi or like not even like a Saitama. You need just someone different. Someone that's just like a cut above the rest. You need that boy Yurik. But before we get to the Yurik part, there were some crazy panels between, because he showed up in probably like the biggest fight that we got to see, which was between the two family heads. So I have like some panels. So yeah, they're going back and forth. They're doing crazy stuff that we've never seen before, summoning these creatures.
Oh, we'll talk about that monster in a second. We'll talk about what that thing is in a second.
And does the York show up yet? I don't think York shows up yet. No, but they were going at it. This is like probably my favorite fight because it's just like two of the most OP characters doing stuff that I didn't even think that they could do in the verse.
Yeah, their abilities are broken. The reason I'm waiting on them because we got to talk about all the family leader stuff in like in one sitting because there's so much to their story.
Let me try to find when York pulls up.
All this. He does pull up in the middle. So Yurik does show up. He shows up because he wants to stop the violence. Because if Traumare and Gusong goes, like, it's breaking the balance. It's getting very bad. These Red District guys want to cause chaos. Luslek wants to cause chaos. Yurik is trying to stop it because all of this is just destabilizing everything and causing more harm than good. So Yurik shows up. He confronts the family leader, the leader of Fug. He little bros the leader of Fug. He absolutely little bros Luslek. And he kind of little bros Gustong and Traumare too, which is kind of great. He is such a powerful demon that the Red District guys retreat. Yes, this man is him. He is Timothy. Yeah, the build-up of Yurik is amazing, man.
Scary than everybody else, but Yurik is probably stronger than all. I think probably the only person stronger than him is probably Jihad, and one other character that I'll talk about later. But
it's also interesting someone tells him what to do in the organization. I find that fascinating. I'm curious to see more about who that character is.
The ladies.
It's not only her, the princess. There's another person. There's like the leader of Wolfen. I don't know. That's it.
I'm pretty sure the leader of them is a princess.
Oh, word. Then yeah, I know. Yeah. Yo, you're tie it down, bro. I believe in you. Shout out. Yurik and Luslik actually had a pretty cool fight. Luslik had some pretty broken abilities. None of them really worked, to be honest. You know, we had a situation kind of like One Punch Man where Yurik was just slowly trying a little bit more in this fight.
He definitely has like shades of like Saitama and Gojo, where most of the times he's just the exception to the rule. It's like, oh, you're the fastest except for Yerk. You're the strongest here except for Yerk, and that's just like just a big part of his character. He is just no matter what, he's just inevitable.
For sure. Let me know when you find the panel. We'll look at that and then we'll dive into.
So many damn chapters.
Yeah, Tower of God is lengthy, bro. I was speed bro. Even on my flight, man. Even I was like, bro, there's so many chapters still. I was locked in though. That shit was heat. That was fire. So while he looks up that, I might as well start setting the table for the last stretch. The family leaders, Traumeri and Gustong, and the overall narrative that is being told about Tower of God in terms of like how we got here. So throughout this, Gusong wants to take out Traumeri. He keeps on antagonizing him to fight, and we got, eventually they started fighting. But I do think it's important to kind of set the table of who these guys are. So we get a lot of interesting backstory of the family leaders from when they started climbing the tower. So they started climbing the tower, all of them. We didn't get every single family leader. I want to keep that in mind, but we got most of them. We get to see Kun's dad again, which is pretty cool. We get to see Jihad, who's wearing his mask basically the entire time. We get to see V. That's a very interesting character. We get to see V. We do not see Arlene, but we do see some of the other family leaders like Gustong. We see Traumeri. One of the interesting things about Traumeri's character is he's always been more attached to animals than people. He struggled around people. He's one of those people that feels more comfortable around animals. But he's not like evil. He was never evil back in the day. Sometimes he made hard decisions. There was a very important moment where he tried to make a decision to save people's life, the decision being wrong, and more people ended up dying. He just tried to do what's best. So Traumeri was like always struggled with like his connection with humans, kind of like Gustong, who focused more on like books, right? A lot of them have their own issues, but none of them are necessarily evil. They kind of got here. Initially, the leaders were like V and Jihad. There's like a co-leadership of the group as well. We get to see how they kind of struggle. We get to see like when they eventually obtain their powers with the V going into the pot and all that stuff. So it was really cool to see the family leaders in like their original setting and how they kind of grew. What was your thoughts about the backstory of like when they initially started climbing the tower?
I thought the backstory was dope. We got to see, like you said, we got to see more of the family heads and like their personalities and like their little quirks a little bit, and also just him in general with, like you said, how he preferred animals over everything, but then like we also see how it like kind of turns into obsession and ownership, where like a lot of it just becomes entitled, and I feel like I forget the girl's name, but
Yeah, I have to remember her name too.
yeah, his original girl kind of kept a lot of that bad stuff in check. Like, not that it was like a brooding issue, but it's just like he wasn't always like just fully grounded in like reality, if that makes sense. He was more in his own world, and without her, he just fell deeper and deeper into the worst parts of himself, which made
Amizu.
yeah, which made him as evil as he became.
Yeah, so there's two very interesting things that we learned about the family leaders is that both of them were keeping their memories hidden. Um, Gustong kept his memories in a book that is very important to like the progression of the plot, and Traumeri kept his was having a Leviathan eat his memories. So these were very interesting things that are happening. When we get more of the backstory, we also see like Gustong become the judge of the family leaders. He's there to set things straight, and we get to see his role. He was the one to always make the logical decision, the balanced decision, always make the right decision for the group. Matter of fact, he even got a stick. Another important thing to mention before I get into Gustong a little bit more: the workshop. Initially, I thought the workshop was like, oh, this is a cool little arc. Yo, this workshop is like freaking super important in Tower of God. The workshop and the old man, like this workshop is mentioned literally every arc. Any thoughts about the workshop and its importance?
No, workshop is definitely important. It's one of like the biggest power factions in Tower of God. I feel like it's like Fug. There's so many hands in the pot. You don't know what's the true intention of the workshop. I feel like it's more of like it's its own little mechanism slash pocket world, if that makes sense. Like they have so many different things going on where I don't know. Eventually, I feel like low key the workshop needs to be destroyed.
Yeah, because even they question, like, are you sure you want to get something from that old man? And like sometimes they do, and we found out like some of the most powerful weapons and creatures are from the workshop. It's ignition weapon humans are from the workshop. It's actually, yeah, this workshop is kind of interesting. I'm sure there's going to be a bigger arc in terms of like who started the workshop and why it exists. But Gustong was made by the judge after like all the group agreed, so he's supposed to here to keep balance, to be logical. That was a big thing of the story. And one of the we'll talk about Traumary's like incident, but I do think it's important to start with Gustong because Traumary's kind of set the pace for like what this story arc is and the end of his story. Gustong, one of the interesting things they bring up is the situation that happened with his wife, Blossom. Pretty sure. Or is that his daughter? No, that's his wife. So the Gustong's wife got out of control. She was the original person that went on a killing spree. Now there's question on like if she did this because she lost control of the weapons or whatever. But this happened. And instead of like serving justice for the people, Gustong sided with his wife. So he sided with emotion over logic, which created a large issue in the Tower of God universe, and they started losing faith in the family leaders. And eventually, I believe Blossom took her life. Am I correct about that? Or I don't remember.
I believe she did. Either she did or like she got like eliminated.
Something happened. She died. Gustong feels regretful about this decision because he wasn't being the judge, and then like his love for his wife because he loved her a lot. And then something happened with his daughter too, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And I think that is in relation to Jihad. I'm so annoyed that I don't remember exactly the details regarding that. Might fact check that in a second, but all these issues that's being created here is one of the reasons why he decided to disregard his discard his memories in that book and not wanting to access them, and which kind of led into like the current situation. So, how do you feel about while I verify those details? How do you feel about Gustong, what happened with his family, and him stealing his memories?
Well, because I don't think we got to see the memory, so I think that like led to a factor in it. But I think, but they all the family heads that clearly have done way too much, or if they've definitely crossed way too many lines, which they keep on referring to throughout the whole series. So this, I feel like they all had their own breaking points, and this is definitely Gustong's. And I don't know, it gives a little bit more depth to his character because he always comes off as just calculated and methodical, but like we kind of see that like, and he gotta. I think they also say like he has like the biggest temper out of all of them. So him finally like crashing out and him basically, yes, Jihad kind of set it up, but Gustong's the one low key starting this war between all the families. So kind of seeing, how do I say this? I think we're seeing Gustong at his lowest right now because like he's just going based off emotions and not logic, and he's ready to burn the whole tower down.
He is, and one of the biggest thing is like he believes that the leaders are failing because these people are starting to see themselves as above. They're starting to see themselves as God. Someone needs to bring them down a peg, which he's right. Someone needs to bring them down a peg. They have kind of forgotten who they are,
Bring up
literally, like by erasing their own memories. What were you
bring up
saying?
the panel. Uh, yeah, because we see like dude summoned a monster, whatever that sucked out all the souls of the warriors that are fighting in this war for him. On both sides, where everyone was just in horror, like, "Yo, is this what a family head is? Just collecting all our dead bodies and souls and using it for his game?" And it kind of gave like another shade of evil to like the family heads and like how they're like viewed and represented, because their own family members were just disgusted by this.
They were, and I remember remember what I was thinking of. So N, I believe, or Anna, it's one of that, Anne or Anna. She's the one who figured out the secret behind the 13-month series weapons and Jihad's real plan. She's the one who exposed it. And of course, after exposing that, Jihad wasn't happy, which is another reason why Gaston is pissed. So not only what happened with Blossom, but also his daughter. Both of them were gone because of all this bullshit with the family leaders and Jihad, leading down into why Gaston eventually turned on them and turned on this entire situation, because this shit is fucked. So Gustong has very understandable rationale. He thinks that they should be brought down, that they've basically lost what they're supposed to be doing. They're not actually good anymore. And he wants to destroy the entire family leader systems, including himself. So that's kind of the big thing. And that's why Gustong's one of my favorite characters. I like Gustong. I fuck with Gustong heavy. And what he's got going on and what he's willing to do. His abilities are kind of fire, bro. Like he's summoning blades instantly and using them like it's fate. This man is
Imagination is what he said.
yeah, he can basically create anything. He really summoned a god to do whatever. So this guy is a demon. Now moving on to Traumere. Traumere's story is kind of like what set the tone for all of this. Keep in mind, Traumere and Gustong have a long relationship. Also, I think Lonnie said this, but it's important to reiterate. Family leaders did a lot of fucked up things. Gustong, being the judge, swept a lot of that under the rug. A lot of that was happening, and I think a lot of them was like dumped into the red district too. But
district, they killed a lot. They killed a lot of creatures and I think like countries off and things like that. They did a lot. Like there was like, because after they sealed off the tower, or they sealed off that top floor, I think there was nothing but wars for a while. So they did a lot of fucked up shit during that war to like kind of establish their order.
Exactly. So Traumere. Now Traumere is a character, of course. He controls animals. He's an anima, of course. And then the person he was in love with was Zamizu, who traveled with the family leaders. So the thing that happened here is that they were supposed to get married. Traumere is going to live in this home, but Traumere is kind of lonely. Other than Amizu and the family leaders, he had nobody to be like his friend. So did he get something made from the workshop to be something that can be his friend. Like he kind of did the one wish willow where he put all these parameters around it. And that is in Kidu. Now it was only a slime and whatever, but something else happened. Do you remember exactly how it kind of took a life of its own? Because a wish happened, but I forgot exactly the details. Do you remember how?
Past the panels. I know that like didn't like it want like a will of its own or something like that.
It did, but something kind of empowered it, like a wish or something. Did a wish happen, or
there wasn't? Like,
was it a wish, or there's something that happened? I just don't remember.
Was it a fugue member?
No, I'm not talking about the stuff that happened with Lustig. I'm talking about the after it was made. Something made it more powerful or something like that.
And it's stronger. Let me See if I can.
I just don't remember the exact details. And I do think this detail probably is important, so that's what I'm trying to remember. Let's see if it's in
Chapter.
the notes.
This is this is the backstory. I remember like he was questioning him a lot.
Well, while you look that up, I don't remember. Maybe I'm making things up, but Enkidu got created. I believe he was created from the workshop. He's this thing that can like take form. It eventually turned into a human, and this was Traumeri's friend, right? This is Traumeri's friend. Now, the big issue with this is that it's still like a animal, and this thing also is like not it wants to be more. That's kind of like the big thing for this monster. Because it's not at the same level as the family leaders, not at the same level as Amizu. So it's kind of jealous of the friends and Amizu. Like this is Amizu. It's kind of jealous of them and their
So
relationship.
she's asking like she wants to try again with him, give him one last chance, and this is where he's like, this is where he betrays him, and he tells him about the secret where he had where he was hoarding all the monsters, and this is where she sees all the monsters that he's been hoarding, kept locked away, and then she broke up with Tremere, and that's what led to the downfall of him as a good person, you could say.
Yeah, I just don't remember. There's like the initial creation. I think the Enkidu was like either watching or something happened or some power was imbued with it. I just forget exactly what. But yeah, that actually happened where Amizu was considering staying, but Enkidu convinced Amizu to eventually leave by telling him what Traumeri is doing. So Traumeri wanted to stay. He actually wanted to marry Amizu and live a happy life. And honestly, if that happened, then Traumeri might have not been crazy. Who knows?
Yeah, Kido wanted just to be the only one by his side. He thought that like Amizu wasn't worthy enough.
Exactly. So another interesting thing to note here, though, is that Enkidu obviously became jealous and wanted to be more, wanted to be his closest one. So the plan that Traumeri was thinking of, he was like creating like different monsters and doing experiments. He kind of had the Big Mom philosophy. His thinking, which is like probably not the most normal thinking, is that he wants to basically crossbreed everybody so there's no differences between people. So there wasn't a nefarious reason behind what he was doing. You probably could say is immoral with him like locking up creatures, but
he also wanted to eradicate all humans.
He wanted, it was for good intention. He just wanted everybody to be like the same species, like no more differences between people. Is his rationale. Probably still insane, but that's his rationale. Not completely evil. There's issues with Traumeri, of course, because he was becoming more narcissistic. He was becoming a little bit more dark. He was losing his faith in humanity, and that culminated when Amizu said she wanted to leave during the party. So he had a wedding ceremony where you invited the family leaders, so we got to see a lot of them growing up from like the different families, and that day was when he was going to ask her to marry him, and then she made the proposal. She made the thing. She said, "I'm leaving. I'm breaking up with you, and I'm going to with like Arlene." So on the day he was going to marry her, she said, "I'm leaving." Kind of tough. Not gonna lie, it's kind of tough. So the plan was Luslik, yes, the Fug leader, shows up to come and pick up Amizu. Plan goes awry, and Kido gets involved. And then we have the situation where Traumeri, Kido, and Traumeri and Kido and Amizu. And then there's question on, did Traumeri convince Enkidu to kill her? Did Enkidu do it himself? And Amizu dies. Huge point. That kind of like fractured the family leaders. That was like one of the big points because she was friends with all of them. So, how do you feel about this situation?
I mean, it gave a good reason to like why they all kind of separated or distanced themselves for each other because like they were all pretty close, but then I think since that moment they all kind of like just kept to themselves mainly. So that was like the I think that was the beginning of the end to like the peace between the family heads.
Definitely was. How do you feel about? Do you think Trump Mary killed Amizu?
I don't remember. Did he? I don't think he did.
There's speculation that he controlled Enkidu to do it, but there's also Enkidu wanted to do it. So it's like, who did it? Like, or was it both of them, or did they both want to do it? That's kind of like the interesting thing about this situation.
I feel like it just leaves it in that gray area where I feel like both things are true. I feel like he he wanted to do it, like Akitu wanted to do it, and there was a part of Traumary that wanted it to happen because of like you just like left me, I'm angry, yada yada. But I don't think he actually wanted Amizu to die. But I feel like since he felt that animosity, he had that like that quick thought, and then that was just an excuse for Akitu to do what he did.
Yeah, and Keto's not the good guy. Matter of fact, later on, so this was like a big part, and one of the reasons why Trimary started like having his memories getting eaten by the Leviathan. Um, Matter of fact, Bam has a really good interaction with Keto where he just said, "You and Trimary, you both suck. Cry me a fucking river." Like Bam was talking his shit to Enkidu.
Akito's the perfect example of that false nice guy. He's basically like Bear from Obsession. You think he thinks he's a nice guy and that he has good intentions, but really it's just selfishness and he's self-absorbed in a way because he doesn't really know any better. To be fair, but because of that, he uses that as an excuse to be nasty. Loki, what Sami Zayn is doing right now on SmackDown with Cody Rhodes, that's what Akitu does. That's basically how I would put it.
Keto's not a nice guy.
Always everybody else. It's always everybody else.
Facts. He was locked up in the area that they were going. He was being used to like recover memories as well as potentially take out Gustong. He does have a unique ability where he can't be killed by anything that's not a family leader, which makes him a very powerful thing that has like a tie to the administrators. So a lot of that is happening. Bam was confronting him. Bam puts belt to ass, I believe, when they kind of confronted each other. And then a lot of the crazy thing happening. A lot of fights are happening. Not Amizu, Leslek, Yorick, the family leaders. That monster that Lonnie showed with that red thing, that was Amizu's body. Yeah, Traumera used her body to create a monster. Also, Traumera has this crazy ability where he can basically cut anything with his like green sheet thing. That shit was broken. So the fights between Gusong and Traumera was crazy. They were going all out. It was everybody step out of the way. With that said, all of this is happening. Rachel's there, and Dorsey's there. They're all kind of trying to win the game. The guy that Guston brought into the family to cause chaos, they're trying to win the game. We didn't talk about the fight that Bam had with what's his name? What's his name?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was a huge fight.
Before a kid knew. It was like a high ranker.
Yeah, he's extremely powerful.
I think he's like third. I think he was like third strongest in like
he is
family.
He is.
I think he's in Gustong's family.
He is in Gustong's family. It starts with a D. I just don't remember.
Yeah,
it's like
that's just supposed to be like really, really. Yeah, he was really strong.
He was really strong. I don't remember his name off rip, but this guy he also has armor like Karaka as well, which makes him very interesting. This guy captured, he handled business. He took out Rack, took out Kun. Bam fought him like 3 times, lost like 3 times. But he also got like respect from him, and Ban was able to find an opening. Eventually realized like the bigger mission here. It was an interesting thing.
Also,
Interesting fight.
I think we also realized something about like Karak and him is that like that armor, whatever. That's just like his armor. Like he's not actually like in there, if I remember correctly,
Well,
or that's not where his like actual like soul is or whatever. Like his soul is somewhere else. So like you can only hurt him so much.
yeah, they also note that I really like this. They note that Bam can't beat this guy. No matter like Bam was powering up so much, he could not beat this guy. They even said like if he didn't have his armor, he would be even stronger. Like this guy was ridiculously powerful, really showing the levels, which is good. I really appreciate that from Tower of God, not just like forcing Bam to win every fight. But the guy won respect and Bam was able to get free. So that was a really cool fight. Forget his name, but that was pretty cool. And then later on, everything is happening, fights are happening. Crazy thing happened. V. There was a voice that was constantly being echoed. I think when I first saw that little space in Bam's body, that was like basically saying like let me out. I think we all kind of realized is that V? And then in a dire situation, I forgot exactly how this happened, but V took over Bam's body. And this changed the course of everything. Despite Yurik, Luslik, Traumer, and Gustong all fighting right now, V getting manifested into Bam's body changed everything. Demon Home.
But also, when Yurik did pull up, as we saw, like the two guys, the two head families fighting, it was probably the biggest. It's definitely the biggest battle we've ever seen. And they're like, "Why are you interfering?" And he's like, "If you're so eager to fight, come at me both at the same time. I can easily handle the two of you guys together." That's the level that Yurik is on. He feels confident that he can easily wash two family heads at the same time.
Yurik's a demon, man. Yurik's a demon.
Which also makes you wonder, if he's that strong, how come he hasn't taken care of Jihad?
I don't know what Yurik's plans are. No idea what Yurik plans to do. Does he even? I think he just wants to get out. So no,
he's there for a specific reason. He's there for a specific. We can get into that later, but it is another big part of, I think, Tower God in general. But no, he's one of the ones. But V was very interesting because we know V was supposed to be dead. We know V is supposed to be Bam's dad, allegedly. So the fact that like now it's like Bam's a vessel, and we've seen other people be vessels in Tower of God before, and like how they're treated and used and things like that. So is this Bam's only? Well, Bam's purpose is like to be the thorn that takes down Jihad, but is V a part of that, or is V just an addition to that?
And it seems like there's certain things that V doesn't know about Bam, even though he knows he's a vessel. There's like certain things like V seemed like he was surprised that Bam can do, which makes me question really like the dynamic here altogether. With that said, V is here. V shows up. V causes chaos. Immediately causes chaos and causes problems for everybody. The only person happy to see him alive is Luslik because he's a fanboy. He was like, "Oh shit, my boy." That's his master, to be fair. That's his mentor. And V's goal is very simple. Another person who wants to kill all the family leaders and Jihad. So V wants revenge, obviously, because I'm sure you should know that Jihad and all of them, caused the death of V, and then obviously the death of Arlene. So V wants to kill all the family leaders. V wants to kill Jihad, which is why Fug exists. And we get a crazy situation in all this situation where V was able to get a crazy shot in on Traumer. They try to help him, they try to save him, but it just didn't work. Trimera had a lethal hit because of V, and then because like he's not full power, he ends up leaving with Bam's body, with Lustlek and Fug, and he leaves this situation.
Yeah, but just off the rip, he said like the body was made for him.
Like
And
V, remember V was as strong as Jihad when they were younger.
yeah, especially like after they reached the tower and everything. So, but what he said was, I haven't taken over him. I'm merely joining him on his quest for revenge. Together, this boy and I are going to avenge Arlene for the wrongs she suffered. But my thing is, technically, Bam doesn't want revenge against anybody.
Oh no, yeah, on it, V is doing this purely for selfish reasons.
Yeah, so because I always said like Bam's doing this for revenge. Bam, unless like Bam also, unless I mean this could be a Sean the Dog. What if Bam has memories that were erased or taken from him?
Yeah, I don't see what memories he would have necessarily, but who knows? They're alluding to like a god reincarnated Arlene's baby. I have no idea who the fuck is this guy? This is unsure. He's an irregular vessel for V, reincarnated baby that was made a deal with the administrator and had a deal with another irregular that was OP as fuck that killed the administrator 1v1 with no diffs administrator. Like Bam's lineage is like insane. One of the craziest. So I'm curious to see how everything manifests and kind of plays out. Yeah, but V did his thing. V actually get the killing blow on Traumere, which obviously pissed off Yurik, and because Yurik doesn't want the family leaders to die. It'll break the balance and cause a lot of chaos. That's a big thing for Yurik. And Guston doesn't want this to happen because V's doing it, which was interesting to me. I mean, Guston still sees Traumere as like this is his boy still. He didn't want V to do it. He wanted to do it. I wonder why he wasn't okay with V to do it. V probably is not in this situation. V is clearly not a good guy. V's probably like more evil than we are led to believe, especially back in the day. So I think V's going to end up being like one of those guys that's definitely not in the I'm a good guy for sure, especially how he treated Bam here.
So again, if Jihad got rid of V, is Jihad the bad guy? But also Jihad's done so much other shit. So it's like what's going on?
There's no good guys and bad guys, man. Which is why, Lonnie. Which is why you need to respect Rachel. That's what you need to do. That's what needs to happen because morality is just a word, man.
It's different.
Nah, it's the same thing, man.
I'm sorry, I didn't see Jihad stab up a guy's legs just because he could run fast.
He didn't die.
But torture just for the sake of torture?
I'm sure Jihad does that.
Hey, I need to see it.
Anyhow, V left, and as Traumere is dying, he eventually gets his memories back. Traumere and Guston agreed to have a final chess match. And as their final chess match, it's kind of crazy because the game allowed Guston to have like 4 chess pieces, and Traumere only had 1 chess piece. It was actually very poetic, I'm not gonna lie. As he was by himself, as his family's falling apart. And then once he gets his memories back, we see Traumere cry. Like he finally realizes, like, yo, I'm fucked. What did I do? Especially since he remembers Amizu. I'll be honest, I felt bad for Traumere. Yo, that's what I'm saying. The family leaders are fire. Like these characters, I can't wait to meet all of them.
It's like we think like before up until that point, like we just consider him like just pure evil, like just pure ignorant, not beyond ignorant, just pure selfish, evil person who only thinks about himself. And now we see why, because like when you take away his memories and like his feelings and things like that, and he was already like kind of in that alone space, you kind of see like how he's really the representation of like what loneliness can do to a person.
Yeah, because one thing they mentioned is he kept on fearing people betraying him, like Amizu, the dog, Yama's dad. That's why he kept on like detaching himself, because people kept on betraying him in his eyes. He kept on losing his friends, which he did. It's just like it's an interesting concept. But Traumary's died. This is the first time a family leader dies. And then the family wants to like join up with Gustong, and the one of the heads tries to kind of regroup his family and all that stuff. Gustong, loses an arm in all of this, by the way. So he gets a nerf like Shanks.
He'll
And
get back probably. He's fine. It's a tower.
uh,
He has
yeah,
the power of imagination. He can't grow. He can't imagine an arm growing back.
hey, that thing that Traumary has is broken. It can like cut concepts, so who knows?
True.
But now Gustong obviously still wants to kill the now like rejuvenated and killing the family leaders, which is also be very interesting because like, do all the family leaders deserve to die? Oh man, when he confronts Khun's dad, because Khun's dad is like a player. I'm sure Khun's dad is going to be very interesting because he beefs with Jihad all the time.
You said who's?
Khun's dad.
We'll get into Khun's dad. Khun's dad is very interesting. You get to meet him early on in the Yurik spinoff, and he's a very interesting character.
Yeah, so I'm like, are you gonna kill him? Are you gonna kill freaking seeing White's dad was interesting, like noble swordsman. He's like friends. It's like he let Lusa go. It's like what's going on with that dude? We get to see Yeon's mother, because we have women as family leaders too. She doesn't seem all that bad. So I'm just trying to see like what's going on with all these people. It's like, is it that simple? Like what turned them bad? Or what's going on? But yeah, Gustong wants to kill the family leaders and wants to kill V. So Gustong has beef with V. V wants to kill the family leaders. Red District people want to kill the family leaders. Everybody wants to kill the family leaders. All of them all have. Also, and Bam is gone from the rest of the cast. He is now with Fug. To be fair, Jinsung is still there with him, but that's crazy. And Jihad sent someone after Gustong. She's causing chaos. And is there anything else worth noting at the very end?
I just looked up. So Yurik has been in the tower for around 500 to 600 years. He was the fastest, or one of the fastest to ever finish a tower in 50 years. And then the head families have been there for tens of thousands of years.
God damn. Yeah, Uri can't even compare.
So in 500, 600 years sounds like a lot, but that's a small percentage to how long the family heads have been there.
Yeah. Oh, also to note, when like Traumary was able to die because he lost the challenge, and because he lost the challenge, that removed his administrator protection, which allowed him to be immortal, which allows all them family leaders to be immortal. So that's a very key component, that they have to lose their administrator protection for them to get killed.
So far, Bam has been there for 12 to 14 years.
He's a baby.
And he's still C class? So they're not even like in the B or A areas yet.
Yeah, he's in
they still got hundreds of floors to go. So
but that's all of Tower of God. Rachel didn't do much. She was there. She was definitely in the fold a little bit. Wong Dong didn't do anything. But man, that family leader stuff was fire. Anything else that I didn't mention for season 3?
Not for season 3 that I can think. Khun's sister going after Bam at the end.
Was that Maria?
I think that's the last chapter.
Khun's sister Maria. So I think an Ari's going after Gustong's people, and then Maria's going after Bam.
Hold on, let me share. So we know this is the guy that looks like Jihad.
See, he's using the device, like I said, communicating with Rachel.
Yeah, this is the other. This is the other son. That's
Oh, forgot to mention, Doan died. I know, crazy. She gets revived, the hero, and she dies. That was tough. I'm not gonna lie. That was actually that was terrible. I felt so bad.
What else? And then I'm trying to blah blah blah. He talks to his master. Bug leader.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Bam grown, man. He's grown. Like a man.
Oh yeah, then V talks to them. Like V talks to Bam. They're like, "What are you doing inside me?" And then V tells him to trust him, at least until I can squeeze through the rift into this world and appear in my full form. Then I will be you and you will be me. So I feel like he's trying to fuse with Bam. But we all know when it's a constant theme. When things try to fuse or take over Bam, they end up getting consumed.
Yeah,
They always end up getting consumed.
Bam has crazy things inside of him. So it's like,
yeah. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. And then oh yeah, the commander in chief of Jihad,
which is an Ari, just destroyed a bunch of ships.
And god damn, there's so many Bam pages.
I'm kind of glad Bam separated for the rest of the squad. I think it'll be good for Bam's character and good for everybody else that are just not simping over Bam, i.e. Kun.
Yeah, no, Kun needs his own.
He needs to stop being a simp.
But we see
also the rest of them, man. A lot of them became irrelevant. We didn't even talk about Hots. He had like one moment. That sword he has is broken as fuck, by the way.
Oh, it's broken. But speaking of people with broken swords, we see Kun's sister throw one slash. They try to stop with some light bearer shields. She took down a whole ship, one swing.
The fact that she's just going out and challenging.
Yeah, and then
Fog Slayer can. Oh yeah, that's an Ari. You said that was Kun. That's an Ari. White hair.
Oh shit, it is Ari. I thought it was Kun's sister. Yeah, but we know that. Hey, if he can romance the commander in chief forces, bro.
No.
Hey,
we need Rachel back in the story. We need Wandon back in the story. Oh, okay. Overall thoughts for season 3.
Season 3, I thought it was great. I thought it was definitely action packed. We got to see the head families go at it. We got to see a war between the head families, so we got to see a lot more high rankers, and we got to see, even though we get to see Bam progress so much, seeing him fight that third rank guy in Mustang and got what the fuck is his name? Gustong's. I almost called him Mustang. Gustong's family. We still saw that, like, yo, even though he's as strong as he is, there's levels where it's like it doesn't even matter. So we know that he still has a long way to go. He has to still find the rest of those thorn pieces. And yeah, I'm excited. And then also the V aspect of it was, of course, the most important part, because what's V's intentions? V's supposed to be dead, so how's he inside him? Are they gonna fuse? What's going on with that? And then also, seems like since one family head is done, what are the rest of the family heads gonna do now? Because now all the family heads know, oh shit, we can actually die. So things are about to get really interesting.
Yeah. Although I think Bam is a great character and a great catalyst for the story, a lot of my favorite parts of this was stuff that was like, all of it's related to Bam, but not related to Bam. So it's like the Yama stuff with the Yasracha. I thought that story was very good. The backstory is amazing. And the family leader stuff I thought was fantastic. I loved everything. Anytime Gustong or Traumere were doing their thing, I was locked in. I'm curious to see more of the lore because we're kind of heading that point. One family leader dead, 9 to go. Like we're at that point where the big dogs are really out here to play, and now we got another faction. We still got more Fug Elders, by the way. We still got more Fug Slayers, by the way. We still got the Red District, by the way. This is not counting. Of course, there's still gonna be Bam's group doing their own thing, with Kun, with Rack, with Endorsey, with Shibisu. Anak became completely irrelevant in Tower of God, by the way. Like doesn't do anything. But like Kun's other group, they're still doing thing. The Ron, and of course we got Rachel's group, Wangnon. Are y'all reading the Eric Mazina spinoff? He's caught up. I'm not caught up. I will catch up at the very least by the end of July.
Yeah, but I'll give the important stuff without spoilers. So we know, because I think you did read like the first chapter, right? Like months ago when
I read a good portion of the first chapter.
Yeah, so I'll just go off the first few pages and I can work with that. So Yurik, we all know, is outside the tower. He's not a human. He's a shining one. A shining one is it's like a group of beings that exists where they're made from light itself. So they're pure light. The first 6 were the brightest, blah blah blah. But basically, they're agents of light, and they're meant to fight against the darkness. And Yurik is the most powerful shining one in existence. They've had their own wars, galaxies, fights for like hundreds of years. That's kind of all that we know about them so far. But what we do know about his goal is that he's after someone called Fantanium. Fantanium is called Axis. Axis, and this is what BAM is most likely is. BAM is probably also at Axis. Axis are the most important people in the overall universe. Basically, so there's multiple tales within the Tower God universe. It's not just Tower God. It's the tales Uzer story. Tower God's just the first one that's been written into a manhwa or whatever. But they're all different stories. None of them exactly connect, but Axis is the most important person in the story. So
he's an anchor being.
Yeah, they're the anchor. They basically control the fate of whatever the story is. So the story of this tower is most likely about Ban. Yurik is not an Axis, but since he's a shining one, he's basically on par with them. But Axis is basically never supposed to lose to an outside force overall. Hold on, let me see if I can find the right sentence. Yeah, Axis is a person that is able to influence the tale of a story. So basically, the story of the Tower God is already predetermined. The past is predetermined. The only person that can influence it or is the main crucial points to the story is the Axis itself, which would be Ban. Fantanium is an Axis from another story who completed his story and or either did something bad or whatever, but he's an agent of darkness, and he ran from Yurik's people after he completed his story and ran into the tower. So Fantanium, who's supposed to be this godlike being who can change fate itself, is also in the tower with Jihad and the rest of them. I think he's ranked number 1 in the tower because Jihad and the rest of the family heads are inactive. So Fantanium is the strongest person active in the tower right now. Who is Yurik's main purpose of being in the tower is to defeat this guy.
Sounds interesting. Sounds like it goes into very interesting lore. I can't wait to catch up to the Eric spin-off to see like some of the other things regarding the universe. And it's fire, bro. Tower of God, man. People need to be on this shit. If you like One Piece, you like Tower of God.
Basically, yeah.
And so, lock in. Any other thoughts before we wrap up?
How long do you think Tower of God's gonna take to finish?
Bro, they have killed one family leader. It's been like
What did Tower
600 chapters and one family leader's dead.
What did Tower
We're
God
no-
talk about?
You said what?
I'm looking up first chapter release date. The first came out in 2010. The first
That's
chapter
actually
Tower
not
God
that
came out-
long. 16 years?
and we got one family leader. We got
Hey, One Piece came out in the 90s, so you know.
fair. But God, we got a long way to go.
Oh, definitely eclipsing over 1,000 chapters for sure.
Yeah, but without giving spoilers for the Rick Mazzino spinoff, it is gas. It's basically nothing but heavy hitters going at it because it's not just Yurk that entered the tower. A lot of his other ops that work with Fantanium are in the tower too, and they're also godlike beings. One of them that just met basically has the same power or a more cracked version of the guy from Boruto that can basically deflect anything.
Oh, okay.
But she deflects hope itself. So whatever you hope to do to her gets deflected back at you. No matter what. And she can also just grant wishes. She's basically like a Daijin, like a genie. She can grant whatever wish that she wants. So, but that's not even her main power. So she can grant wishes. So of course, rankers, regulars, they're like, oh, she can grant whatever wish I want. Yeah, I'll do whatever she wants. But she feeds off of people's miseries. So she always likes putting twists on the wishes and shit like that too. But she can also counter hope and counter shit. So she's cracked in itself, but she's not even the strongest one. Because Yurik's like, I've killed you plenty of times. We can run it again. So that how strong is Yurik? And also another interesting fact about it is that Shisui is only in the tower itself. Yurik has power outside of it, which is his light. So Shisui is meant for whoever the Axis is, which of course Bam is blessed by Shisui. Shisui loves him. So of course that's probably like what his thing, but Yurik has his own type of power from outside the tower that's getting introduced. So he can compete with the family heads with that power and also with Shisui at this point. So yeah, dude's cracked.
Shout out, man. And that's probably, I'm sure this probably gives a little insight on why Jihad stopped climbing the tower. Probably something very related to like the larger implications of the Tower of God universe. Maybe he's correct. Maybe he's doing a good thing. Who knows?
Like Jihad's not just the only final boss. I feel like Fantanium and Jihad are cohesive final bosses.
Interesting. All right. Well, that's all we got for the Tower of God Season 3 overview and discussion. I'll break this up into more digestible pieces for segments if I can. But with that said, appreciate everybody tuned in. Have a good one. Take care. Peace.